Last night, there was good news and bad news for the Rainbow baseball team as they prepared for their Easter tournament. The bad news was that they were outplayed by their opponent, losing to Meiji University of Japan 3-1. The good news was that it was just an exhibition game. It did not count. In essence, it did not happen. So Hawaii must move forward and forget about last night's humbling defeat. They must concentrate their efforts on business at hand and rebound against tonight's opponent, Cal Poly Pomona, because tonight, it counts. Live from Rainbow Stadium on the campus of the University of Hawaii at Manoa, KHNL presents Rainbow Baseball. Tonight's game features Hawaii against the Broncos of Cal Poly Pomona. The Broncos from Cal Poly Pomona may be only 6-14 on the season, but if history is any indication, we should be in for a great game tonight. How you doing, everybody? John Fink along with Pal Aldridge and Pal. Division II school, the Broncos have a great history coming into this tournament.
They sure do, John. Cal Poly Pomona had Johnny Scalina's coach for them for decades, and he is a legend in the baseball circles. They have always produced a very solid, well-coached team. Pitching has been a problem for them so far this year. Their record indicates that they're not doing very well. But I wouldn't be surprised if this tournament is the time that Cal Poly turns it around.
Cal Poly won their league last year. They've also played 4 top-notch teams this year, including UCLA, San Diego State, and UC Santa Barbara. We'll see how they do against Hawaii right after this. Let's check out tonight's budget rent-a-car keys to the game, pal, for Hawaii.
They have to rebound after last night's victory. They're not going to face a pitcher like Sasaki was last night, and I think they need 6 good innings from Levon Largusa so they don't use their bullpen too early in the contest. For Cal Poly Pomona, again, to be successful against Levon Largusa, you must get to him early, and I think they need to be a little more consistent. Their record indicates that they are not. So consistency is important for them.
We take a look at the head coaches for Hawaii, of course, Les Murakami, with his 800-plus career wins. His 354 losses, not including last night's, because that was an exhibition game. And on the other side, for Cal Poly Pomona, Chuck Belk, who for 9 years was the right-hand man of John Scalinos. Scalinos, as you mentioned, pal, a legend of 30-plus years at Cal Poly. He retires, and Scott Belk, who spent some time in the Minnesota Twins organization, moves in for the interim head coaching job. That's what they're calling him this year, the interim head coach.
Well, Johnny Scalinos, not only an outstanding coach, but an outstanding person. As a clinician, I mean, he put on clinics for young people and coaches that just kept everybody spellbound for hours.
And Belk was part of that program as he was part of the Broncos' first NCAA championship team in 1976. Cal Poly Pomona is a team that has won 3 Division II NCAA championships in 76, 80, and 82. So there's a good history behind this team. I mentioned they tied for their league championship last year. They've been slow getting out of the blocks this year, but as you mentioned, pal, this should be kind of a make-or-break tournament for them as they'll have a chance to get healthy. We take a look at the infield for the Rainbows. At first base is Chris Duggar. Over at second, the hot-hitting Scott Craven. Shortstop, steady Randy Vollmer. And at third base tonight is Rob Williams. Out in left field, the hottest hitting Rainbow, Franz Ewan. In center field is Kenny Harrison. And over in right field is Sean Rogers. Behind the plate is Tyler Sheff. And on the mound is the Goose, Levon Largusa, 2-3 on the season. And you can see he's walked a few too many batters for his own good, and his 3.86 ERA shows that he's had some good outings, but pal, he's also been all over the place a couple of times this year.
Yeah, he sure has. The last outing, he walked, I think it was 6 guys, but we haven't seen the Goose throw in 2 weeks now, so you know, I think it's going to be important for him to stay on top of things very early to get back into the groove.
Yeah, the reason for that, of course, Hawaii played 2 games last week against Portland State, and Carl and Pereira pitched in those 2 games, so the Goose had the weekend off. We did see him warm up, but he didn't pitch. Tonight's Mauna Loa batting order. Mauna Loa, all the goodness of Hawaii. Brian Mena, the center fielder. Steve Keelan will bat second. Chris Hunt, Yanni Aguili, the designated hitter. Alan Duhart, that's pronounced Alan Duhart, and Scott Daniels, Rene Bobadilla, Grant Stevens, and Sergio Brown rounding out the order for the Broncos. And our umpiring crew, what a mugshot this would make on a police record. Mike Baldwin, who will be behind home plate, Wade Ford at first base, and Mike Evans, with the toothpaste smile, will be at third base.
Well, Wade Ford is from Texas. He umpires in the Southwest Conference.
Slight breeze, about 15 miles an hour, blowing left to right. Remember now, this game is the final game before the actual standings start counting in the Easter tournament. That'll start tomorrow night. And Hawaii will get things underway tomorrow in the Easter tournament and all throughout the week, so keep it right here on KHNL. We will have every Rainbow game. And then we'll have the Rainbows on Saturday, wherever they play. It could be for first place or third place or fifth place. We'll be with the Rainbows. So we're set at Rainbow Stadium. Another sellout tonight. And leading things off is Brian Mena. Mena hits the first pitch to Vollmer on 2 hops. Makes the throw over to Duggar, and there's 1 out. So Cal Poly coming out right away and swinging.
Well, good start for Levon Largusa. He threw that pitch right down the middle. And Mena wasting no time. But 1 pitch, 1 out, really helps the pitcher.
That brings up the leading hitter on the team, Steve Keelan, who came into this series, came into Hawaii hitting .474. And last night, Cal Poly shut out Dartmouth 5-0. So they got their trip started in a good way as they beat the Wave of Dartmouth. Brown is here from the Ivy League. Dartmouth is here. Not like, the Big Green and Brown couldn't play out east. They come all the way out to Hawaii from Providence and Hanover, New Hampshire, to play in where else? The Hawaii Rainbow Easter Tournament.
Well, the last Ivy League team we saw was a few years ago in this tournament. That was Cornell. They didn't play very well. It was their the games here were their first games outside of the field house.
Reminds me of last year, BYU came in here real early. That was their first outside hitting of the year. They'd been in the cage all the time.
Well, Levon seems to be around the plate right now. I know one of the things he's trying to work on is that consistency of release so that he gains a little more command of his pitches.
2-1 pitch to Keelan. In there, strike two.
Now, where you saw that fastball was down right at the knees. Last night, the pitcher for Meiji, Yoshitaka Sasaki, frankly turned in the best right-handed performance of an opponent that we've seen all year.
Up high on the breaking pitch.
And he really wasn't overpowering, John. He only had about an 81-mile-an-hour fastball, and the Bows have faced people faster than that, but he just lived downstairs right at the knees and under the knees, and he had a mean changeup.
And there was some real frustration on some of the Rainbow batters. You could see as they went back to the dugout, they just couldn't get enough of the ball. 3-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. 2 out.
Now, some coaches want you to choke up on the bat a little bit, spread your stance out, and display pepper with the pitcher. Now, you see this batter, Keelan, now he's taking the full-on hack right there with 2 strikes on him.
You can't get your left hand any lower than he had it on the bat. It was off the end of the knob, and he goes down swinging. And with 2 out, the batter is Chris Hunt, who comes in hitting .282. Hunt second on the team in runs and second on the team in hits. Broncos is a team hitting .256 entering play in this tournament. And again, this is one of those games, pal, where Hawaii really has nothing to gain, and they do have some things to lose, because if they lose to a Division II team, that will not look very highly in the minds of the rankers as they go to do their top 20 rankings next week, and that could have some input into the tournament as they look down the road.
Well, I think you and I were discussing that earlier, just before we went on the air, that the entire tournament is like that.
Brown and Dartmouth, I mean, if Hawaii beats Brown and Dartmouth, which they're favored to do in Grand Canyon, those are teams that people would expect they would beat. So really, the Rainbows would almost have to have a perfect tournament and build up some pitching and some batting averages and obviously their record. And people on the mainland who do the voting would go, well, that's expected. If they should lose a few games in the tournament, it's definitely going to affect their rankings. 1-1 pitch. Down low, ball 2. And what's interesting, pal, is if, and this is a large if at this point because the tournament doesn't begin until tomorrow, if Hawaii should play Lewis Clark State in the finals next weekend, Lewis Clark State is a great team. Yeah, they are a national champion 5 years in a row. I don't care what division you're in, this is still baseball. Fouled off, 2-2.
I'll tell you what kind of a team. I'm sorry, go ahead, continue.
I was going to say that if Hawaii plays Lewis Clark State, that will not count toward their power rankings because they are in the NAIA, and that doesn't count as much as if they beat Wyoming, for example, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's some NAIA teams, and then there's Lewis Clark State, right?
That's right. 2-2 pitch. Swung on and grounded to first. Duggar picks it up. He'll flip to Largusa. The low flip. Largusa handles it, steps on the bag, and that's it. And the top of the first, 3 up and 3 down with no score. Checking the defense out for the Broncos at first base, Alan Duhart. Why spell it that way? I got to ask him. At second base, Grant Stevens. At shortstop is Sergio Brown. Third baseman is Steve Keelan, who struck out in the first inning. In left field, that's Scott Daniels. In center field is Brian Mena. And in right field is Rene Babadia. Behind the plate, Chris Hunt, and on the mound will be Shannon Albright. Albright, decent ERA, 1-2, and he walks about as many as he strikes out coming into tonight's action. In Mauna batting order for Hawaii, Scott Craven is leading off tonight as Coach Murakami juggling things a bit. Billy Blanchette will bat second, followed by Sean Rogers. Franz Ewan in left field tonight. Kenny Harrison, Chris Duggar, Randy Vollmer, Rob Williams, and the oft-injured Tyler Sheff getting to start behind the plate tonight and batting ninth. Pal, your comments on that lineup?
Well, I think he's forced into that lineup because of Harold Kabab's injury. And we discussed previously that the trouble spots for Hawaii before the WAC season starts are second base, third base, and catcher. And so we're getting to see Williams get a start at third base tonight, and Craven, who has been playing second base recently. But to have him lead off, I think this could be the first time in Scotty's career that he's leading off. Maybe in Little League he did.
He pops the second pitch up for a foul ball, and it's caught by the first baseman. Duhart makes the catch for the first out. Well, when you say trouble spots, I mean, Kelly Fair and Scott Craven have done a good job switching off. You say trouble, you mean more perhaps that they haven't decided who's going to play there.
Right. Meaning that they've been varying back and forth between a few people.
And here's Blanchette, who's DHing tonight.
And for example, you look at shortstop. I mean, Randy Vollmer, there was a series where he didn't start. Kelly Fair started there. But I think it's safe to assume that Vollmer will be the starting shortstop when the WAC season rolls around.
Well, Coach Murakami said at the beginning of the year, or even after a few games this year when Vollmer proved he was healthy after the leg injury that kept him out last year, Vollmer started out his career at UH and he was like 1 for 29. And Murakami stuck with him because he not only believed in him, but thought he was a great defensive shortstop, which is what a lot of coaches look for first in a shortstop. And Vollmer has come through completely on both ends. So I think you're right. If he hits decently, which he's doing right now, he will definitely be the shortstop all season long. Right now he's hitting .275. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Blanchette. The pitch from Albright. A bouncer to second base. Stevens over to Duhart for the second out. That'll bring up Sean Rogers. You see the good batting average and the excellent on-base percentage. You get on base over 50% of the time. You're doing a good job for your team.
Well, I think there's another reason that some of these people have been put into the lineup.
Fouled off by Rogers.
And that is that you want a sound base, a good foundation before you begin your conference play. And if you just stick 9 guys out there and play them, what if something happens and you're going to need, say, Franz Ewan now. He's been a fixture in left field for a couple of series. So to give him the opportunity to play out there and get a little more confidence and experience in playing left field, I think does nothing but good things for the overall benefit of the team.
And Rogers looks silly going down on that partial swing, and Albright looks great in the first inning. 1, 2, 3 for the Rainbows. No score after 1. Tonight, our most valuable volunteer is Roslyn Liu. Roslyn is a single mother who's raising 3 kids. However, she still finds time to coach AYSO girls soccer. Roslyn has been coaching soccer for over 5 years in the girls 5 to 13 age bracket. And from time to time, she also volunteers as a lines person. Roslyn wins a gift certificate from Times, certificates from Coke and Briars, and she could win the grand prize, a trip for 4 to Disney World, courtesy of DDIO and Creative Holidays. Congratulations to Roslyn Liu. That is not easy, coaching, officiating for kids, but it's worthwhile, and we thank all of our volunteers. And we thank you for getting down to Times and writing those names down. Those people deserve to be recognized. Top of the second, and Yanni Aguila fouls one off. Cal Poly coming right up and swinging at the first thing they like. Aguila comes in hitting .327, and he also leads the team with 11 strikeouts. Inside, 1-1 to Aguila. Foul tip, strike 2. Pal, you mentioned many times that Levon Largusa had some pro potential. With the season he's having thus far, do you think he'll have another year to wait?
No, I don't think so. I think he'll get drafted.
Then it becomes a question if it's high enough in the draft to make it worthwhile for him. Strike 3 called. It bounces away from Sheff, and he throws down to first for the first out.
Well, that ball may have had some movement on it because Tyler Sheff was right in front of it. He gloved it, and he just didn't catch it in the middle of the pocket. He just flat missed that thing.
I didn't see a call strike 3 right away from the umpire either. So here's Alan Duhart.
Professional scouting, what you look at is the potential of a specific player.
Right.
You know, if you're a person that represents a club, what you're trying to do is fill your major league rosters. So your scouting is a little bit different than, say, what I do, which is I represent all teams from the Major League Scouting Bureau.
So you're looking for generally players that have the potential as opposed to a specific position or something.
Well, what I'm looking for is for anyone that I consider to be a professional prospect.
Right.
See, a person that represents a club, now if they make any mistakes, those are their minor league people, right? So they're trying to get somebody to go not necessarily to their A farm team in the California League. What they're trying to do is get somebody to go to the big league. And so their scouting emphases are a little bit different than mine. So when you look at somebody like Levon Largusa, it really doesn't matter the kind of season he has. It's what potential that he exhibits. However, if he can't find the plate and he goes 0 for March, April, and May, then you've taken into consideration all those things. But you know, you and I both know that Largusa will not go 0 for
That's right.
March, April, and May.
Then he would have what we call unrealized potential. Up high, 2-0. The batter is Scott Daniels. Daniels, a good example of the early season hitting woes for Cal Poly Pomona. Last year he was all league in the CCAA. He had .317. This year he comes in hitting just .129 in the 8 games that he started. So he's off to a real slow start. 2-0 pitch. Up high, ball 3. I mentioned Cal Poly Pomona last week, to tell you how this team is starting to come around, pal, they beat UC Riverside, the number 3 team in the country in the Division II rankings. And they've also lost against Pepperdine, San Diego State twice, UCLA and UC Santa Barbara, all top 30 teams in the country in the Division I area. So they've lost to some good teams, and they beat a very good UC Riverside team twice last weekend. And Daniels trots down to first base, our first base runner of the evening, on a ball 4 pitch from Levon Largusa.
Well, right now, Levon Largusa's velocity is probably around 82, 83 miles an hour. This is what he's been averaging so far this season. Every once in a while, he can pump it up to about 85, which is average. And when I mean average, I'm speaking of the major league average. But one of the attractive things about him is that he can throw the ball, and he's got a good curveball, and he's left-handed.
The batter, Rene Bobadilla from El Monte, California. Could qualify for our all-name Hall of Fame. See how he does over the course of the week. If you were the home PA announcer for Cal Poly, you would have a great time with this guy's name.
Yeah, especially in a basketball arena.
Absolutely. So with 2 out, Largusa having some control problems. Tyler Shep goes out to calm him down.
And you notice that every time he's wild up. So there are some specific drills you can use to help that type of problem. And I'm sure Levon is doing them now. Now you see, when his arm is coordinated with his body and he doesn't drop so quickly, he doesn't rush through the gathering portion of his delivery, then he can throw a strike. Like you see that time, everything was gathered at the top. His arm was in good position when he planted his right foot. Sometimes the arm is dragging behind. Now he knows all of this, and he's working to cure that. It's not as though Levon Largusa is going out there and he doesn't know what his problems are. So he's working on it.
Two balls and 1 strike to Bobadilla. Inside corner, strike 2.
Well, this is, as you said, a pretty decent name to be in contention for the all-name team. Rene Bobadilla, also Yanni Aguili. I mean, that's a pretty good name too, and he's an awfully big guy, so we may have to put him in there.
He's a DH like Sky Meltzer was.
Sky Smeltzer.
Smeltzer, that's right.
Skylar Smeltzer from University of Wyoming. What a big guy.
Up high, ball 3. You know, you mentioned the mental process of going through and then translating that into the physical corrections that Largusa has to make. People used to say knowing your problem is 50% of it. It's really not if you don't do anything about it. And that goes for anything, not just baseball and pitching. Three and 2 pitch with 2 out. Daniels will be moving on the pitch. Down low, ball 4, and Largusa walks his second base runner. That brings up Brent Stevens, the second baseman. Stevens hitting .226, but you can see a good on-base percentage. Strike 1. Stevens leads the team in stolen bases, or he's actually tied with Bobadilla with 4 coming into action tonight. Well, Largusa gets ahead on the count, 0-1. A 1 pitch, up high, 1-1. Your car is your star player. To help keep it performing its best for your weekly trip around the bases, try high-quality Chevron gasoline with the cleansing power of Techoline. So Stevens, the number 8 batter, at 1-1. 2 men on. We're in the top of the second. No score. 1-1 pitch. Popped up foul, and that one is going to go up and out of play and on the roof. And if you just joined us, well, you're late because these games start at 6:30.
Yeah, for tonight and 7 more nights.
Going to have to fix that dinner up in front of the TV a little bit earlier for the next week or so. I know you're going to find some trivia for me since that ball was on the roof. 1-2 pitch from Lagusas up high. 2-2.
Yeah, let's see what I can dig up here.
Well, maybe I'll get lucky and Levon will get me out of the inning quickly. 2-2 now to Stevens. Daniels on second, Bobadilla on first. 2-2 pitch, and Stevens backs out.
This is a pretty interesting one. Of all the players who've had their numbers retired from any team, any organization, okay, which number is the largest?
That ball stroked into left field, but right there is Franz Ewan. He waits and he makes the catch. So after a couple of walks, Largusa settles down to get Stevens to fly out. No score after 1.5. Bottom of the second, that means it's time for the Midas touch inning. There's the address. Send your cards in and you may have a chance to win, and Pal will tell you how we play.
Well, you send your card in, and when your card is picked, you'll get a $25 gift certificate, a Midas cap, and a t-shirt. And if you guess the runs correct, then everybody in your group that specific night will get a $100 gift certificate. If you get all 3 correct, then you'll be given the grand prize, which is a trip to Australia. First winner tonight is Ella Hara of Kapiolani Street in Hilo, with a guess of 5 runs, 9 hits, and 2 errors.
Batter for the Rainbows is Franz Ewan. He looks at 3 quick balls from Shannon Albright. There's outside ball 4. And Shannon Albright, after retiring the Bows 1, 2, 3 in the first, throws 4 straight balls.
And Albright's velocity, about 80 miles an hour, a little bit unorthodox delivery in that he has a short delivery, short arm delivery, and he's got kind of a stiff wrist. Throws a fastball, curveball, a slider.
That brings up Kenny Harrison.
Now here's a guy, Harrison, that catches last night, and tonight he's playing center field. The last person I saw do that was Sean Okamoto of the Hawaii Pacific Sea Warriors a few years ago. He was a catcher and a center fielder. I believe it was 3 years ago Sean did that at the tournament here.
Well, they did that in the Big Show a couple of years ago. They tried to do that with Carlton Fisk to prolong his career. Remember, they put him in the outfield for a little while. And he was also catching, of course, and still is.
Well, yeah, then there's a little bit of difference, though, between outfield and center field. I mean, center field, you gotta be covering those gaps.
Well, it didn't work with Fisk either. He went back to catching pretty much.
I think they tried to put him in left field.
Yeah. A player from each team will be honored at the end of tonight's game. GTE Hawaiian Tel will go beyond the call and contribute to the General Scholarship Fund of the University of Hawaii. The 1-1 pitch to Harrison, way up high, 2-1.
Our next winner is Hikoso Fujimoto of Paliuli Street in Honolulu, with a guess of 4 runs, 6 hits, 2 errors.
Ewan going, ball chopped at the plate and foul, so Franz will have to return to first. The count now 2-2 on Kenny Harrison. Wind blowing awfully hard to right field, and Harrison's got some power that way. He fouls this one off at home plate. Franz Ewan at first base. I was checking some of the WAC statistics. Of course, WAC play has not begun yet, but all the teams have played. His .457 batting average is second right now amongst everybody in the WAC, and a lot of those teams are playing Division II teams. They haven't played the tough schedule Hawaii's had so far, so Ewan very impressive thus far. 2-2 pitch down the left field line, but that's going to land foul and bounce into the bullpen.
So I think one of the things that has made Kenny Harrison a better hitter is that he is able to go to all fields now. Early in the season, he was almost a dead pull hitter, and he swung up a lot and was way ahead of the ball, and so now more of a complete hitter.
2-2 pitch down the first baseline. Step on first. The throw to second by Duhart. Not in time, as the tag has to be applied, because once Duhart stepped on the bag at first, it took the force off on Ewan, and that meant the shortstop Sergio Brown had to tag Franz, and Ewan slides in ahead of it. So a fielder's choice for Kenny Harrison moves Ewan over to second base, and with one out, here's Chris Duggar. Duggar has played second, third. He played a little bit of short last year, and tonight he's at first.
Now that play right there, I saw Mickey Mantle in the late 60s on television. That same play happened when Mantle was on first base, and the first baseman touches the bag, reverse pivots to throw to second base, and Mantle slides back into first.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I guess so.
I've never, ever seen that happen, except for that one time.
That's heads up, because most guys think they got to automatically take off. Slow bouncer to short. Poached by the third baseman Keelan. A long throw. He gets him a nice play, and holding up at second is Ewan. Nice play by Keelan, pal, coming across to take that ball and throw out Duggar going down to first.
Something a third baseman must do when he goes to his left. He's got to cut the ball off in front of the shortstop because it saves distance. And as John said, a nice play by Keelan to get Duggar. Duggar down the line in 4.56, which is not great speed, but it's not too bad. Fran Shima, you're our next winner.
There's a ground ball up the middle, base hit from Vollmer. Coming around to score is Ewan. The throw's coming in, and it's cut off, and it's 1-0 Rainbows. So Randy Vollmer on the first pitch gets our first hit of the game, picks up an RBI, and the Rainbows go ahead.
Fran Shima of Mahuli Place in Mililani, 2-6-0. We were talking earlier about Vollmer and his batting average in 270 area. And there he delivers a clutch single for the Rainbows.
So there's the old adage about a leadoff walk coming back to haunt you. I think the number I heard was in the major league, 75% of leadoff walks come back and score.
Well, if that's in the major leagues, can you imagine what it is in lower baseball?
Oh, yeah.
Charlene Asado of Po'ailani Place in Waipahu. You're our next winner with a guess of 7 runs, 10 hits, and 3 errors.
Batter now is Rob Williams. Rob Williams hits a ground ball. It's going to get through and get into center field. Vollmer around second, heading to third. Here comes the throw. It's cut off, and Vollmer dives in anyway. That might have been close at third base, but it was cut off by the shortstop, Sergio Brown.
Yeah, I think so, too. I think that would have been pretty close, except pretty exciting and funny to see Randy Vollmer going into third base. I mean, he left all fours. I mean, he was way up in the air.
If we got a shot of this, he don't watch this. Well, there's Brown cutting it off, and Vollmer looked like a mock Superman taking a dive into third base there.
Well, our next winner, John, is Lily Agena of Paloma Street in Wailuku, 7-12-1. And also Lauren Kuveke of a post office box in Honoka'a with a guess of 8-10-2, 8 runs, 10 hits, 2 errors.
So a big inning for the Midas touch inning as our sixth batter, Tyler Sheff, comes up. You can see Sheff is struggling at the plate. Takes inside ball, too. Vollmer, to his credit, never stopped, pal, as he rounded second. He saw the ball in front of himself and chugged all the way around. Took a wide turn at second. That's why I think it might have been close if Brown had cut it off and thrown to third.
Well, what happened on that play, Vollmer had to go directly into second base because the second baseman, Stevens, was near the ball and he dove for it. Now, if the ball is a clean hit and you know it, then what you're going to do is either loop or veer out at second base to make your angle around the bag and direction toward third base a little bit sharper.
In the bullpen, Peter McGowan gets ready to start throwing for the Broncos, as Albright has not been all bright this inning. A little bit all over the place. Did I really say that? Head coach Chuck Belk looking on as he gets his first strike on Sheff. It's now 3-1. Three-one pitch. Sheff fouls it off into the screen.
Well, Tyler Sheff is really struggling at the plate. I think as a catcher, he's come an awfully long way this year. And he was the guy they were counting on to be the #1 catcher. Then he got hurt. They had to put Harrison in there. But also, I think because he was struggling with the pipe that Kenny Harrison's been getting an opportunity to catch. But make no mistake about it, this is an awfully strong young man. And, boy, you give him a pitch to hit, and he's going to hurt you with it.
3-2 pitch. Runners go, and that ball drilled into right field. Bobadilla comes over, plays the lights and plays the wind and makes the catch. And the Rainbows pick up 1 run on 2 hits, 2 left. And at the end of 2, they lead 1-0. Superman. Oh, it's just Randy Vollmer. Back up. We move to the top of inning number 3, the bottom of the order coming up in Sergio Brown. For the Broncos, John Fink, along with Pal Eldridge. Happy to be with you for the final tune-up game before the Rainbow Easter Tournament gets officially underway tomorrow.
Okay, now you've had time to think about my trivia question. Now this is, I said any organization, any team. Now obviously it's going to come from a Major League Baseball team, all right? Now we're talking baseball here, not hockey, and we all know that number 99 is going to be retired. Maybe George Mikan's number already retired too, and his number is 99.
The Minneapolis Lakers.
No, but it's obviously baseball.
It's a baseball number.
The highest number retired in baseball.
Los Angeles Dodgers.
Don Drysdale.
Don Drysdale with the number of
50, was it 51 or 55?
53.
53, okay. You know, when you first asked me, I didn't think baseball right away, and I'm thinking of...
Well, first you have to understand, am I going to ask you a question about any other sport?
Well, I'm sitting there thinking, you know, maybe one of the linemen from the Green Bay Packers or something like that, and I said, wait a minute, this is Powell, and this is baseball. Don Drysdale. Well, that puts me hitting about 200 in trivia this year. It's great. Thank God there haven't been many foul balls. It's time for me to ask you, I think.
Okay.
Well, let's hope we get one. Brian Menn is the batter. He grounded out to start the game off, hitting an impressive 403 coming in with a couple of home runs. Nubs one to Craven, and Craven will go over to first for the second out of the inning. Pal Eldridge earlier today was at Jim Leahy's daughter's wedding, and would you wear these shoes to a wedding? Well, Pal did, and he wore those socks, and yeah, look at that intensity, huh? He had gum, and he had gum on the bottom of those shoes too, just so you know. So, and I guess with Ivy League schools in town, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Pal.
I had to. It was a way of showing some respect,
you know,
for a school or schools that I could never get into. Maybe I could major lunch at one of those places, but. Yeah, actually,
I almost went to Dartmouth.
Really?
I just didn't get in. That was the only problem. 0-1.
No problem.
Steve Keelan, the batter.
Yeah, I like that. I almost went to Dartmouth,
No, but I went to school out east, so I think I had a pair of those shoes too. And I went up to all those schools.
Yeah, the wedding was really nice. You know, it was not your standard, you know, will you Kelly take Darryl, will you Darryl take Kelly? I mean, you know, they had some readings and they had candle lighting, and it was candle lighting ceremony for each other. It was really, really nice.
I can't imagine any event where Jim Leahy has a prominent part being ordinary. Did he say a few words?
He did a great job.
Wasn't too nervous?
Walking Kelly down. No, he looked terrific. He looked confident. I thought he was going to break out crying, but he didn't.
1-2 pitch. Craven could make all three outs this inning if he can get the ball over to first. He does, and that'll do it in the third inning. 1-2-3. Nice inning for Largusa. And after 2.5, it's still 1-0 Rainbows. You know, in the late 60s, when I was in grammar school and Powell was doing his first few Rainbow baseball games, trolls were very popular, and thanks to the Rainbows in the dugout tonight, they're making a comeback, I guess. You remember those little dolls?
Now these are relatively new, though, these troll things.
There's a line drive right at the second baseman by Scott Craven for the first out of the third inning. Ball right at Stevens, and there's one dead. Yeah, they're making a comeback, but I'm just thinking before Cabbage Patch Dolls and all that, people used to have trolls. Well, what goes around comes around. Here's Billy Blanchette. Blanchette grounded out to second in the first inning. This time he pops one up. Center fielder coming over, Mena, drifting and makes the catch for out number 2. So Albright's been real schizophrenic tonight. He's looked real good in the first inning and now the third inning. But in the second inning, he put himself in trouble with a walk and a couple of base hits. And the Rainbows picked up their only run and the only run of the game thus far. And Sean Rogers is the batter. Outside ball 1. Attention baseball fans, when it comes to jackets and uniforms for your team, Westport has earned the reputation of being #1 when it comes to reliability. Get the uniforms you want when you want them, without worries or unexpected surprises. Ground ball to second, picked up by Stevens. He goes to Duhart for the third out. Remember, that's Westport in Waipahu, open 7 days a week. You'll find them in the yellow pages under sporting goods. After 3, it's Hawaii 1, the Broncos nothing.
Baseball fans, the Rainbows baseball tournament officially gets underway tomorrow here at Rainbow Stadium. 4 games are scheduled beginning at 9 a.m. Round picks on Gardner. At noon, Mickey for Hiroshima. At 3 o'clock, in Poly Pomona taking on Lewis Clark State. Each game at 6:35 p.m. picks our own University of the Rainbows and its Grand Canyon. Leading up the bullpen for the Broncos, the catcher, Chris Hunt.
Tonight's Chevron Series record, Hawaii leads the all-time series 14-13. The last time these two teams met was twice in the '87 Easter tournament. You can see Hawaii won the first game 1-0, and then Cal Poly came back to win 6-3. Try high-quality Chevron gasolines with the cleansing power of Tekraline. Top of the 4th, Chris Hunt leads off. Hunt grounded out from Blanchette to Largusa to end the first inning. This time he fouls off strike 2. These teams, 14-13, that just tells you how good Cal Poly's been over the years, pal. Of the 27 games these teams have played, the overall runs is only 15 runs apart. Hawaii has scored 143 runs, Cal Poly 128. They met in '85. Hawaii lost 4-3. They won 3-2, and they smacked them 14-2. And they split a pair of games in '83. So every few years, these guys come out here, and they do pretty well against the Rainbows, as you can tell by their all-time record.
Well, California Polytechnic Institute used to be an agricultural school. They have a very strong agricultural department. And when you go to their baseball field,
that ball's hit down the line in right field. It's drifting foul and will land out of play and in the back of the bullpen.
Because they were an agricultural, or have a strong agricultural program, their baseball field was like a golf green. Beautiful. I mean, they do not allow anybody on the infield except when you're taking infield for the game.
So they had guys taking tutorials in infield.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was not an area weed in it, I'll tell you.
Like Pitcher's Mound 101 type of thing? Have you been up there recently?
No, I haven't been there in, maybe 8 or 10 years, but field was still like that. And now you have to picture a golf green. Now, I don't know what kind of grass that is. I'm not into that. I really have no clue. But
Green.
but it was just beautiful to play on.
2-2 pitch from Largusa. Hunt gets a piece of it to stay alive. It's still 2-2. Nice grab by a fan. Could be a Lewis Clark fan with the blue and the yellow, huh?
No, I think that was a California Berkeley hat, wasn't it?
I didn't have anything on that.
I think that's Mr. Arapoff, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
Coach in the Kahala Leagues.
2-2 pitch. This time another foul ball. This one will find the crowd. Bounces out of a lady's hands, and she'll get no applause. Very tough crowd. But this guy got it. Let's see if he gives it to her. No way. No way I got it.
I'll tell you, though, this batter, Chris Hunt, he certainly takes a hack at what he's going after. I mean, he's got a big-time power swing.
Line drive into right field. That's a base hit. Rogers making up some ground quickly, picks it up and holds Hunt to a single as he bounces it into Vollmer at second base. So Largusa gives up his first hit on the night, and pal, you're right, he got around and got all of that one and strokes it into right field.
Well, he's got some good bat speed, and he had a quality at bat for himself. Now, I think every batter that goes up there ought to have what I like to call a QAB, a quality at bat. I mean, he fouled some balls off. Remember, the count was 0-2 on him.
And that'll bring up Aguili, Yanni Aguili. And he fouls one off. Aguili, a political science major. Oh, and 1 pitch from Largusa, up high, 1-1. Hit .232 last year with a couple of home runs. Also plays some first base and DHing tonight.
Well, something unusual. They have 5 sophomores on this team. They have no freshmen. Tell me the last time you've seen a college team with no freshman players.
1-1 pitch down low. Good block by Sheff. 2-1. Largusa keeping Hunt close at first base. Hunt with 1 stolen base on the year. That ball fouled off. 2-2.
When you get a guy like Aguili up there who really swings the bat, I mean, the pitches that he's gone after 3 pitches that have been out of the strike zone, I think, up high in his last at bat, as well as this one. I mean, would not be surprised at all to see a changeup right here or a curveball, something off speed, take him out of that rhythm that he's established for himself.
Two balls, 2 strikes, nobody out. That ball in the dirt again. Sheff playing hockey goalie here.
Yeah, and that's a great stop by Tyler Sheff.
That wasn't 59 feet. That was about 57, I think.
Yeah, and those are tough to catch because what they'll do is they'll bounce up on you. Now, you see how he's got to stay up a little bit. And actually, where the ball bounced and where it hit him in the chest protector, it usually is a little bit higher than that. A good job by Tyler Sheff to save that run from advancing, the runner from advancing.
3-2 pitch. It becomes moot because he'll advance now on ball 4. So the Broncos have something going here in the top of the 4th with Hunt on second, Aguili on first, and Alan Duhart, the batter. And Duhart grounded out, hit last time up to Vollmer. And that's what Largusa would like right now, otherwise known as the pitcher's best friend, the double play ball. Duhart takes a look down to third base. And over at third base is Jim Ramos, who is the third base coach tonight. Up high, ball one. And with that pitch, Tyler Sheff looked toward the Rainbow dugout. And there he is looking back again. One ball, no strikes. Ground ball to first, gets past Duggar. That's going to go down into the corner. Rogers comes over to pick it up. One run will score. And heading into second base with a stand-up double is Alan Duhart. And we are knotted up at one, and there are runners at second and third with nobody out.
Well, the leadoff hit by Hunt does hurt, but what even hurts more is the walk to put the two guys on. Now, that one base hit scores a lead run. That was the base hit Hunt, and now you got guys on second and third. Takes away the double play.
Good bit of hitting there as he took that lefty pitch and on the inside part of the plate and put it down the first baseline between Duggar and the bag.
And you're getting a look at Eugene Myers, number 17, warming up for Hawaii. This is the guy that they usually have in there following Levon Largusa because there's a drastic change in velocity.
Call strike one as the umpire at home plate. Mike Baldwin defers to Mike Evans at third base, and Scott Daniels, who, as you can see, walked in the second, goes through with the swing 0-1. Pitch to Daniels. Tipped, strike two.
Well, the other thing to remember now is that this is the second time through the order for Cal Poly Pomona. We're at batter number 6 now. And Largusa has not been able to get his curveball over consistently. Now, when he has been very good, he's been able to get that pitch, the curveball, over for a strike.
0-2. He'll want to be careful with this pitch. He wants to kind of waste one, but anything in the dirt here could lead to a run. And a good stop by Sheff as that thing was inside, and Sheff caught it at the edge of the catcher's mitt. 1-2. One-two pitch to Daniels. Foul ball, line shot up into the crowd. Luckily, it hits the facade in front of the upper deck.
Well, he was protecting the plate on that. That was a marginal pitch, but you have to go after those types of pitches when you're the batter. What you don't want to do is allow the umpire to call you out on something close, so you've got to swing at it.
1-2 pitch from Largusa. Takes something off, and it's drilled into the gap in right center. This is going to be extra bases. 2 runs are going to score. Daniels is going to get into second base. He chugs around second, and he'll hold there as the throw comes in. Largusa took something off that. Daniels was not fooled. Got a good mental piece of it, if you will, and it's suddenly 3-1. The Broncos from Cal Poly Pomona jumping all over Levon Largusa here.
Well, he got the curveball up in the zone. Watch where Daniels makes contact. Just about belt high. And he's been hanging tough with 2 strikes on him. Got a good piece of that one. I wonder if Sean Rogers has some kind of a sore arm out there, or maybe he hurt it when he went into the fence to get that the first double hit by Duhart. But he certainly didn't throw that ball in very well, and he didn't throw the one that Duhart hit down the right field line either. So either he had a sore arm coming into this, or he hurt it on that one play against the fence.
Remember, Hawaii 2 outfielders short with Daughtry out with a broken finger and Kebab out with a lacerated hand. The batter, Bobadilla, ball one is fouled off, 1-1. Cal Poly Pomona averaging 8 men left on base per game. Part of their frustration coming into this series. They've also lost 4 one-run games. But records are often deceiving. They have played some good competition.
Myers continues to warm up. His velocity about 75, 76 miles an hour, but he's got a good moving fastball. Now that's a pitch that I referred to a few batters ago, that curveball that he can get down in the strike zone for a strike. And that's a big league curveball right there.
So 4 batters have been up this inning. 1 has walked, 3 have gotten hits, and suddenly it's 3-1 Cal Poly Pomona. 1-2 pitch. Swung on, and like he's swatting flies, Bobadilla misses that one. And that one was out of the strike zone, but that's what Largusa needed to get a strikeout.
Well, after a walk, a base hit, a walk, and consecutive hits now, this is the first out, recorded by Levon Largusa.
Brings up Brent Stevens. That one's up on the roof.
Well, that's number 43 overall. There's your chance, big guy.
I'll get to it. $10 doesn't get you much these days unless you're having lunch at the Pacific Beach Hotel Shogun Restaurant. There, for under $10, you can still enjoy a great Japanese luncheon buffet. That's the Shogun Restaurant at the Pacific Beach, and it is very good. Ground ball in the infield. Vollmer waits for it. Now he charges, gets that rifle out, and throws out Stevens for the second out. And in the meantime, because it was a slow enough and high enough hop, the runner Daniels goes over to third base. Good bit of base running there by Daniels. He didn't hesitate, and Vollmer had to wait for the ball to come down. Normally, if the ball's in front of you and you're on second base, you kind of hold up to see where the fielder's going to go with it. We've seen guys thrown out at third for going on that when they shouldn't be going.
Yeah, that's the only time you can go from second to third on a high hopper. Every other time you have to wait for the ball to get through or wait for the ball to be fielded.
Here's Sergio Brown, the shortstop. 0 for 1. He takes strike 1. Ooh, he nails Brown on the wrist. And Brown will head down to first base. That hurt, because that was a fastball, I believe.
Yes, it was. Very much of one, too.
Well, it might have just grazed him. Let's take a look, pal.
No, it hit him pretty good, right at, as you said, in the right wrist.
Yeah, that bounced right off. See if they put some of that instant freeze on it, because that'll be sore. And Brown's got a lot of baseball left to play this week. Trainer comes out. They're going to take a look at it.
Ooh, he's a tough guy, because that was a good plunk right there.
He pulled it away from the trainer. The trainer was laughing. So we're back to the top of the order now. Runners at first and third. Daniels on third. Brown at first, and Brian Mena 0 for 2. A couple of infield ground outs as the batter. We'll see what Brown does with 2 out off of first base. On the year, he has 1 stolen base. Pitch to Mena inside, 2-0. Mena comes to Cal Poly Pomona from Golden West Junior College, where he was a second-team all-conference last year. Two-0 pitch from Largusa. Up high, ball 3. Mena, the 8th Bronco to come to the plate this inning. Pitching coach Carl Furutani looks on. Three and 0 pitch. Strike 1. Three and 1, 2 out. Brian Mena, the leadoff batter. Levon Largusa about to throw his 75th pitch, and we are only in the 4th inning. There goes the runner. That ball is hit. Volmer dives, can't make the play, and it's going to roll all the way to the wall. And because the runner was going, Sergio Brown is going to score. So it's not just 4-1, it's 5-1. Here comes the throw to third by Volmer, and diving in ahead of the tag with a triple is Brian Mena. So if you're a Cal Poly fan, you've seen a little bit of everything this inning. Runners going, a couple of doubles, a triple, a hit by pitch, a walk, and a 5-1 lead.
Well, what happens when you get behind people, you're forced to come in with the fastball, and that thing is right down the middle. Pretty good attempt there by Volmer, but the ball is hit so hard that it gets in the gap between Harrison and Ewan. Both runs score. 5-1 now.
And Sergio Brown, who was going on that pitch, was able to bolt all the way around and come home. And we're going to have a pitching change as Levon Largusa can't survive the 4th inning. He leaves, and the Broncos have pulled ahead 5-1. We'll be back.
Attention, please, now pitching for the Broncos, number 17, Eugene Myers.
Eugene Myers is a new pitcher for Hawaii. There you see his record and an ERA. I mentioned earlier that velocity about 75 miles an hour, but he's got a pretty good moving fastball, and he combines that with the curveball you just saw. His sinker off the fastball works especially well when he keeps the ball down.
His job now, obviously, to get out of the inning without any further damage. There are 2 out. Brian Mena on third base, and it's already 5-1. Great stop by Tyler Sheff. That ball had wild pitch written all over it, pal. That's a great stop.
Well, luckily, Myers doesn't throw real hard, allowing Schiff the chance to do this. I mean, I don't think that, I think he just kind of lucked out doing that, actually.
The way he came up on that ball could have easily gone under his glove. It happened to stick in his glove, so it's a great play. 1-1 pitch. Swinging strike 2. I think you're right as Keelan kicks the dirt. He struck out on a fastball from Largusa and just saw something with about 10 miles an hour less speed on it from Myers.
Well, that one was a curveball, so it's even more than that. It's probably closer to 15 to 20 miles an hour slower.
1-2 pitch. Ground ball to second. Craven gobbles it up. Goes to Duggar. And Duggar touches the bag to get out of it. But out of it is a mild way of looking at it as the Broncos come up with 5 runs on 4 hits, and they now lead after 3.5, 5-1. Well, the bad news for Rainbow fans is it's 5-1 Cal Poly. The good news is it's only the bottom of the 4th inning. And Shannon Albright throws ball 1 to Franz Ewan. You know, pal, we had a ball hit the roof, and it's my turn to ask you a little trivia. Now, this is for all you at home to play along to. If you don't want to, don't. Who are the 6 players to have won more than 5 batting titles apiece? This is not that tough. See, because that's the kind of stuff you always say to me before I answer. This is easy.
6 players
have won more than 5 batting titles. Name them.
This is the, you know, we need those short kind of answers. You know, we get all these complaints about all the long ones. You know, it's going to take me all inning to figure this one out.
I won't let you take that long. 2-1 pitch to Ewan. In the
6
dirt.
guys have won 5 or more batting titles.
More than 5. They've won 6 or more.
Rod Carew.
1.
Wade Boggs.
Nope. This book is 2 years old, so I don't think so. There's a ground ball that's going to get through into right field for a base hit for Franz Ewan.
Lou Gehrig.
No.
Honus Wagner.
There's 2. So Carew and
Tris Speaker.
No.
Ty Cobb.
There's 3.
Pete Rose.
Nope.
Tony Oliva.
No. Ted Williams had 6.
Ted Williams.
Rogers Hornsby had 7. Stan Musial had 7. Rod Carew had 7. Honus Wagner 8. And Ty Cobb 12 times the Georgia Peach won the batting title. I'm redeemed. 1-0 to Kenny Harrison. You would have gotten that eventually, of course.
See, but you know, I go again. I get the real, you know, the short kind for you. The long one was the one about the stadium. But,
wait. You asked me about the stadiums. You asked me about the 3 rivers of Three Rivers. I had to get all 3 rivers. There are 3 different rivers of Three River Stadium. 3-0. So Albright gives up a line drive base hit, and now he falls behind 3-0. And the night is still young, and it's bottom of the fourth. And coming out to the mound is Chuck Belk, who also, aside from being the assistant coach here for 9 years and playing on their first NCAA championship team, spent some time in the Minnesota Twins organization.
See, I read something that Roger Clemens wrote a couple of years ago, or he was quoted as saying the 2 times that you have to be very tough as a pitcher. You have to bear down as a first inning and after your team has scored. So now the Broncos jump up 5 runs, and they're ahead by 4 now in the bottom of the fourth. And he gives up a hit, and he goes 3-0 on the next batter.
And he goes 4-0 on the batter, and Harrison's down to first base. Well, and you know this is a player, pal. One of the reasons that makes a lot of sense is after a team breaks out, your team, and scores a lot of runs, momentum is shifted to your side, the other team is down. If you can get them out relatively quickly, you might be almost able to put them away, because some teams will just kind of fold after that. Whereas now, not that the Rainbows would have folded anyway, the Rainbows are right back in it, because here's Duggar with 2 on and nobody out.
Well, 2 things can happen to a pitcher after a big inning like that, and you can consider 5 runs a pretty big inning. That he goes out there, maybe he's a little too relaxed. Another thing, he's been in the dugout a while, so the actually be third thing. And the third thing is that maybe, you know, he's forcing himself now. He knows he needs to pitch well, and he may be squeezing the ball a little too much, thereby throwing balls.
Of course, he knows he needs to pitch well when it's 1-0. There are a lot of things obviously going through Albright's mind right now. One of which is that he has been all over the place in the second inning and now in the fourth inning. In between, in the first and the third, the Rainbows went 1-2-3. So Shannon Albright having trouble in even innings so far. Duggar, line drive, fair ball down the third base line. That's going to get down into the corner. 1 run is going to score. As it goes into the corner, 2 runs are going to score as Harrison beats it around third and into home, and Duggar has a double. It's 5-3.
And just like that, the Bows come bouncing back with 2 big runs on 2 ribbies on this double by Chris Duggar down the left field line. Now, one of the budget rent-a-car's keys to the game was to get to Largusa early, and they did just that, forcing Myers into the game. And also that they need to be consistent. Cal Poly needs to be consistent. And getting a good example now of how inconsistent they may have been to allow their record to get to 6-14.
Ground ball to third, scooped up by third baseman Keelan. Long throw to first in time for out number 1. Vollmer is gone. Duggar holds up at second. The batter is Rob Williams, who singled in the second inning. Strike on the outside corner. Well, Albright came to Cal Poly this year after the U.S. International University program was disbanded, even though he didn't pitch for them in their final season of competition. That ball bounced in front of home plate. Albright picks it up barehanded, throws to first, and first base umpire Wade Ford says, "I couldn't see it." Mike Baldwin at home has asked for help, and Mike Baldwin says he's safe. And the Broncos are real upset about that, as you can imagine.
Well, now what happened is the first base umpire now, Wade Ford, tries to get in a position to see this play, and he is in position for it because he's got he's in the triangle there. But the throw takes the first baseman Duhart off of the bag, and I actually think this is pretty good mechanics. He doesn't try to fool anybody. He goes right to home plate umpire Mike Baldwin and says, "Hey, what do you think?" And Baldwin moved off the bag. He's safe.
Well, you watch the throw. He kind of patty cakes the throw, aims it. Let's see. Ooh, he might have been on the base when he caught it.
Yeah, he was on the bag when he caught it.
But a good move by the first base umpire, Wade Ford. He said, "I didn't see it." He asked for immediate help. And to his credit, Mike Baldwin said, "If you ask for my help, I'll call him safe because that's what Baldwin saw was the foot coming off the bag. So good teamwork by the umpires, except if you're a Broncos fan. And instead of being 2 out man on third, there's only 1 out with Duggar on third, Williams at first, and Tyler Sheff in a real good position to help the Bows and also help himself get some more playing time, which would be nice this week since his dad's in town. His father, Ed, the coach of Lewis Clark State. One and one. You know, it's tough for mainland kids that come to the University of Hawaii during spring break. Obviously, it's pretty expensive to fly home, so he's got it great. His dad just comes out to him. Fouls that one off, 1 and 2.
Every year.
Yeah. And then goes back home and wins the NAIA championship 5 years in a row.
Well, I think last year LC State came in here undefeated, and they did not do well in the tournament. I could be corrected, but they were like 4 and 6.
Sheff ground ball to third. They're going to get the runner in a pickle. Duggar is hung up between third and home. Now the throw back to third, and a nice play coming over is Sergio Brown. There was nobody covering third at first, but Brown hustles over to get Duggar for the second out. So no. Sheff will get to first on the fielder's choice, but Duggar probably should have held up on that one.
Actually, I was just going to comment that this is an outstanding base running play, and the reason it is this is a double play ball right here. And so you tell your base runners from third base to take off, get into a rundown. Now they got 1 out. You still got men on first and second. Otherwise, he goes 5-4-3. They're out of the inning.
You think with the ball bouncing like it was that he still would have had the double play?
Ball was hit hard. I definitely do.
Okay. Coming into pinch run. At first base is Ryan Fujitani for Tyler Sheff. There's a line drive to center field, getting a late start on it is Mena. That's a base hit, and coming around third and in to score will be Rob Williams. So there you go, pal. Based on the fact that Duggar did get caught in the rundown and there was no double play, the Rainbows pick up their third run of the inning. Scott Craven had flied out and lined out. Now he gets himself a base hit. And the Rainbows are back to within 1. It's 5-4 Cal Poly.
Well, Craven wastes no time on this thing. Breaking ball, hangs it on the inside corner, slashes it to center field. The Bulls have bounced back right in the middle of this.
Of course, Williams off with the crack of the bat with 2 out, and he scores without even drawing a throw. And here's Blanchette. And a base hit now would probably bring in the speedy Fujitani from second base and tie things up. Blanchette in his 1 appearance flied out to right. I'm sorry, in his 2 appearances flied out to center and also grounded out. Ball 2. Down low, ball 3. So it's been a wild 4th inning. We've seen 8 runs scored, 5 by the Broncos, 3 so far for the Rainbows. Levon Largoose has been bounced out of here, and Shannon Albright is 1 or 2 hits away from possibly meeting the same fate, and possibly from a walk away as he walks Blanchette on 4.
Well, so far there's no activity in the bullpen, so you got Albright up there that's going to be staying in here for now anyway. Don't even see anybody scurrying around in the dugout yet.
Well, earlier we saw Peter McGowan warming up, but he has since sat down. Coach Belk is now going to probably be calling for some help. Strike 1 on the outside corner. Batter is Sean Rogers, struck out and grounded out. So Rogers now with a base hit could actually propel the Rainbows back into the lead. Blocked at the plate, 1-1. Two out, bases full of Bose. 5-4, Cal Poly, bottom of the fourth. Up high, 2-1, not even close. Two-one pitch. In there, 2-2. Rogers apparently taking all the way on that pitch.
There's some activity in the bullpen. Number 13 going out there.
Jason Marshall. 2-2 pitch. Rogers grounds one between first and second. Grabbed by the first baseman. He'll have no play. He does get a play, though. Well, interesting that time. Duhart, because he fell towards second. Powell looked at second. And then when he looked back to first, there was Albright waiting. But by the time he threw it, Rogers beats it to first, and we are tied at 5. You know, if he'd have thrown it right away, he might have had a play and gotten out of the inning.
Well, he had to go far to his right to get this ball, and he's on his knees, and his back is turned to first base. So it's a tough play for him. It's a great play right here to come up with the ball, but now you see how his back is to first base. Got a tough throw to turn that number of degrees to throw the ball.
Well, and because his momentum was carrying him towards second, that was the first option he thought he might have, but he did not have an option as Craven was there. So Fujitani scores, and now Craven's on third, Blanchett is on second, and Rogers is at first. And the batter is Franz Ewan, who led things off a long time ago with a line drive base hit. We are tied at 5. Outside, 2-1. So Cal Poly sends up 9 batters. The Rainbows now on their 10th batter. 2-2. Two pitch to Ewan. Down low, 3-2. So the merry-go-round will be moving now. All 3 Rainbow runners will be going. And Ewan, who walked on 4 pitches his first time up and then drilled a base hit to start this inning off, swings and pops one up. It's foul. It's drifting towards the dugout. Coming over to third baseman Keelan. It bounces. He heads into our cameraman and can't make the play.
And there he is.
Craig
Kalekini.
He's all right.
Okay.
He's all right.
I'm okay, fans. I'm okay.
Thanks for signaling, Craig.
Yeah, I wasn't so much worried about Steve Keelan as I was Kalekini down there.
Notice how when Keelan got close, Kalekini whipped his camera around there. 3-2 pitch, 2 out. Once again, the runners will be going. The pitch to Ewan. Up high and real high. Ball 4. And now the Rainbows lead 6-5. Craven scores. Blanchett moves up to third. Rogers to second. Ewan at first. And here's Kenny Harrison. Harrison walked on 4 pitches earlier this inning. So Coach Belk deciding not to get anybody loose in the bullpen until there were 2 outs in the inning, hoping he could get that 3rd out. But in the meantime, the Rainbows have not only tied things up, they now lead and are threatening to break it open. Down low, ball 1 to Kenny Harrison.
You know, I must admit that I think they hesitated a little too long in getting somebody up in the bullpen.
One and one. Harrison drills one up the middle. That's a base hit. Mena picks it up. 1 run scores. Here comes the second run coming around. Rogers beats the throw into home. The Rainbows lead 8-5. No question about it this time. They're going to the bullpen.
Well, I've got to laugh because the coach comes out there and there's one guy in the bullpen, he's right-handed, and he goes right-hander.
Well, that's Bob Wagner. Bob Wagner, the Cal Poly assistant coach, and maybe they did wait a bit too long. But right now it's 8-5 Rainbows, and we're only in the 4th. We'll be back.
Jason Marshall is a new pitcher for Cal Poly Pomona. 1-3 record on the year, 5.68 ERA. Just got sent out about 4 batters ago into the bullpen to warm up.
There's Shannon Albright, who pitched 4 2/3 innings. That ball gets away from the catcher, and now going back and finding it is the pitcher. Interesting move there. Hunt could not find it. It skidded off his leg and took a right angle bend. And Marshall had to come all the way back to the backstop to pick it up, but 2 runners advancing. Ewan going to third base, Kenny Harrison down to second base. And Jason Marshall with an inauspicious beginning. Comes to Cal Poly this year from Santa Monica Junior College. Chris Duggar takes ball 2. Duggar doubled, and then in what turns out to be maybe the key play of the inning, as Pal mentioned, got caught in a rundown, which prevented any chance for a double play. And by getting caught in that pickle, the Rainbows stayed out of the double play, and after 2 were out, lots of good things have happened. Rainbows with 7 runs here in the bottom of the 4th. Way outside, 3-1. Well, pal, you mentioned that Marshall didn't have much time to warm up. The dilemma coaches are going to go through all week here is, do I wait one more batter to bring in my reliever because I got a game tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day?
Well, it is always interesting to see the different philosophies of the coaches in tournaments like these. But when you know you're in a 10-day tournament or an 8-day tournament with 2 days of exhibition games. Swinging strike 3. You bring a lot of pitchers. And Duggar says he got a piece of it.
And Mike Baldwin says no, and that'll be it for the inning for the Rainbows, as Duggar can't believe it. But the Rainbows pick up 7, so all we saw was 12 runs in the 4th inning, 5 for Cal Poly, 7 for Hawaii. After 4, it's 8-5 Rainbows. Take it.
We'll get a look at the last play to end the inning. It looks to me that when the ball comes in, there's really no deflection at all, and the catcher jumps right on the ball and goes to tag Duggar, so he didn't think Duggar hit it at all.
You will notice, however, that as Duggar turned right away, he made no move to move up the line, which indicates that, I don't know if he's a good actor, but he thought he tipped it. And he certainly questioned Mike Baldwin. But in the meantime, we've actually moved to the 5th inning. After 12 runs were scored in the 4th. And leading off in the 5th inning is Chris Hunt, who singled to start things off last inning, which was the beginning of the end for Levon Largusa. So neither starting pitcher is going to be around for a winning decision. And Largusa is now off the hook as his teammates have come back in big fashion. And now Shannon Albright is on the hook for the possible loss if his teammate can't catch up.
Well, Hawaii showed a little spunk that inning coming back from a 4-run deficit. You know, it's not that easy to come back for 4 runs, and they come back for 7.
Strike 1, 2-1. So Shannon Albright goes 3 2/3 and gives up 7 hits, 8 runs, only 3 of which were earned, 4 walks and a strikeout. And for Levon Largusa, 3 2/3 innings, 5 runs, all of which were earned, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. And again, the reason those runs were not earned was because of that controversial play where Rob Williams forced the first baseman to, or the first baseman's foot was pulled off the bag on the throw from the pitcher. And that certainly opened the floodgates for the Rainbows. And now Eugene Myers walks Chris Hunt to start things off in the 5th inning.
Well, here we go again. I mean, walk the leadoff hitter.
Brings up the cleanup hitter, Yanni Aguili.
Now remember, this is after your team has scored 7 runs to take a 3-run lead. Just throw the ball over the plate.
Aguili takes ball 1. Have you ever painted the outside of a house?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a big job with a lot of back-breaking, scraping, sanding, and painting. Before you do anything, call Bula at Hawaii Vinyl Supply, and you'll never paint again. And ask about their March Rainbow Special. There's a ground ball past the third baseman, but Vollmer comes over, goes to second for 1 to first, not in time, but a pretty play by the Rainbows. As Vollmer goes into the hole to get it over to Craven, and then Craven has the presence of mind to still try to get Aguili going over to first base.
You know, I realize I'm redundant every time Randy Vollmer makes a play like this, but he gets rid of the ball quickly, but he's got that good throwing arm. And nice pivot at second base because that's the only one Scotty Craven had to back away from the base.
And that brings up Alan Duhart, who doubled last inning. He's also grounded out. 1 out. Top of inning 5. John Fink and Pal Eldridge happy to be with you on a Saturday night, the final preview game before the Easter tournament officially gets underway tomorrow. And we do want to mention that from Sunday through Friday, increments of 6 baseball cards a night will be given away free each night to the first 2,500 fans beginning at 5:30. The popular UH baseball cards once again will be given away at the Rainbow Easter Baseball Tournament starting tomorrow. 0-1 pitch is stroked into center field. Moving back for it is Harrison. And Kenny Harrison makes the catch going away and gets it into Vollmer, which keeps Aguili at first base. And there are 2 out.
Now, John, you notice that Tyler Sheff is still catching. That's because in a tournament like this, they have what you call speed-up rules, where you can have somebody courtesy run for the catcher when he gets on base, so you don't take the time to have him out somewhere on the base pass, come in, put his equipment on, and get back out. You want to get it taken care of in a minute and a half. So that's why Sheff is still in there. It's a courtesy runner. We have that in high school, too.
I think that's very nice. See, baseball is the only sport where you could have things like courtesies. Ground ball to second. Craven double pumps and throws to Duggar. And that'll end the 5th inning. A relatively quiet inning. Everything's quiet after the 4th. No runs, no hits, 1 left, and the Rainbows still lead 8-5. Explain that again. We move to the bottom of inning number 5, and the Rainbows will have Vollmer, Williams, and Tyler Sheff scheduled to come up. And, Hal, as you mentioned, Tyler Sheff is still in the game because of the courtesy rule.
Yeah, this is a way of speeding things up so that he's not out in the base pass and having to come in to put his equipment on, like, say, he's the last out of the inning somewhere. And, of course, if he's at bat and he makes the last out of the inning, that's something else. But if he's on the bases, they're going to pinch run for the catcher, called a courtesy runner.
Ground ball to the shortstop. Brown picks it up. The long throw to first just gets Vollmer, and there's 1 out.
Pretty good arm there by Sergio Brown at short. I'll tell you a good thing right there is Randy Vollmer just got down a base pass, first base line in 4.4 seconds.
I think you and I against Portland State had him around there, maybe even 4.3.
Yeah, it was 4.46. That's what was the last time I got him.
This time Williams hits one to left center field. Both fielders coming over, and moving up to make the play is Daniels. So to finish that story, his leg looked like it's all right.
Yeah, it's getting better. I mean, the first series against Arizona, he was 4.8 something down the first base, 4.86. And then he got to be 4.6 something, and then 4.46, and now 4.41. So he's getting better, which is a great sign for Hawaii.
The batter now is Tyler Sheff with 2 out. Sheff 0 for 2 and swinging strike 1. Jason Marshall.
See, of course, one of Vollmer's attractive features as a baseball player is that arm that he has, and he's got good range. When he's 6'2", and he can move around that position, and with his arm, he can make up for a lot of ground. See, people in professional baseball will look at a guy like Randy Vollmer and say, "Hey, we can teach him to hit. We got people hired to do that. We can teach him to be a little bit better hitter."
Who's the best rainbow infielder you think you've seen? Where would you rank Vollmer?
Oh, I think he's way up there.
That ball fisted into left field, going back for it is Brown. He can't get there, and it drops in front of Daniels. So Tyler Sheff fights that one off and gets himself his first base hit of the night.
Well, he gets sawed right here at home plate. You see his elbows are bent and just barely gets it by Sergio Brown for his first base hit of the night, as John said. And again, courtesy runner Ryan Fujitani in for Tyler Sheff.
Only in baseball could you have courtesy runners.
Yeah, pardon me, can I have a courtesy quarterback on this play?
You know, baseball is so nice. The sacrifices, object of the game is to get home. I mean, that's so nice. Basketball, you have the slam. Football, you have the bomb. In baseball, you have the sacrifice, and you go home. 0-1 to Scott Craven. And Craven comes in now owning a 9-game hitting streak as he got a single last time up in the 4th inning. And with 2 out, he'll see if he can move the pinch runner along.
See, one of the weak things about a courtesy runner is if your catcher happens to be one of your better runners. You know, I happen to have a catcher that's one of my better runners, but we have a guy that is even better than that, see? So we've got a guy that goes in all the time.
Now, when you were catching...
Oh, geez, they didn't no such thing as a courtesy runner. Otherwise, I would have had a guy stand behind home plate when I hit the ball, let him run from then.
They would have had him in when there was no out or 1 out and you got on base, huh?
I'll just stand right behind the umpire, or right behind the umpire, you'll be fine. Just crouch so you don't get hit with anything. When I hit the ball, run for me.
0-2 pitch. Swinging strike 3 by Craven. And he drops his debris at the plate and says, "I think I'll go field." As the Rainbows are retired, they lead 8-5 after 5. Eugene Myers on the mound for the Rainbows here in our Bud Fact in the top of the 6th inning. Hawaii is 12-0 this season when they've recorded 10 or more hits. Well, they have 8 tonight so far. When they've scored first, which they have done tonight, and when they lead after 7 innings, which is good news, showing the kind of late-inning relief pitching Hawaii's had. Of course, this doesn't count exhibition or alumni games. Hawaii winning 12 games and losing none when they have 10 or more hits. Budweiser reminds you to know when to say when.
And John, in our Midas Touch Rainbow Run scoring game, so far, Lauren Kuveke, and I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, it's Kuveke. You've guessed 8 runs, 10 hits, 2 errors, so we're right at 8 runs right now. Everybody else is below that total in runs.
Foul ball up the first baseline on the 0-2 pitch to Renee Bobadilla. So she is still alive for the
Still alive.
big prize. Bobadilla has walked and struck out. High ball 1.
Myers has got a good assortment of pitches that he throws. I mentioned that curveball and the slider, and he changes. He's got a pretty good changeup too.
1-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. And low and tagging him is Tyler Sheff, and there's 1 out. Bobadilla strikes out for the second time in the game, brings up Grant Stevens, the second baseman.
You notice that sinking action right as the ball nears home plate. There's a little dip to it. You can see it right here. See how that ball dips down there? That's a very effective 2-strike pitch for Myers.
That one even dipped so much it hit the dirt first, and that's why Sheff had to tag Bobadilla. Outside ball 1.
And notice that one did not have the sinker action to it. He'll turn it over when he needs to. And by turn it over, meaning, rotating the thumb over.
That one's in there, 1-1. HNG baseball cards celebrating the Easter tournament with unbelievable in-store specials. If you're a serious baseball card collector, then check out the specials this week at HNG Baseball Cards in Pearl City, located just EVA of the Pearl City Tavern. There's a fly ball to left field. Franz Ewan comes in for it and makes the catch for out number 2. You're what I would consider a serious baseball card collector.
Yeah, unfortunately I am. And I say unfortunately because things are getting so expensive now. I mean, when we were kids, and I know I'm older than you, I mean, we only had the Tops and that was it. And now you've got Tops and a bunch of other companies, and then even those companies produce their high quality cards, and I don't know, it's just getting way out of hand.
Well, on a sociological note, I happened to collect cards when I was a kid because I liked the baseball players, not because of the potential value of the rookie card of some guy 20 years from now. It was not for investment purposes. When I had seven Mickey Mantles, it was because I loved Mickey Mantle back then.
So did I. So do I.
I'm still trying to resolve if I threw him out or my mother threw him out, because I have no Mickey Mantles
It's your mother.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's your mother. Because I have a feeling that my mom discarded mine when I went to college in 1964.
Well, there could be some
Boxes of
sanitary engineer out there who's made a fortune off of moms throwing out baseball cards because we used to want them for just having the players. I remember we used to flip them, right? You knock them leaners and things, and now it's you go to shows and you'd get them autographed and save them for 40 years in your safe deposit box.
In 1952, I'm 7 years old,
right?
And the 1952 Top set, I mean, I think it's like $40-something thousand now.
And you had one.
Well, I know I had plenty of them. And the common cards are $40 and $50 now. I actually saw at that card show something I'd never seen before, and that was a 1952 Topps complete set. I mean, the complete in a box.
Right? And it was valued at 42.
Yeah, or 50-something thousand.
3-2 pitch to Sergio Brown. Inside, ball 4. How did that make you feel?
Well, I got my checkbook out, and I went to the guy and I said, "How much was that, sir?" And he said, $53,000, and I went, "Not."
You said, "I'm just a bit short." Brian Mena, the leadoff hitter, comes up. Mena tripled. Last time up, drove in a couple of runs as he put one down into the corner. Or actually past a diving Bulmer, and it rolled all the way to the wall. It was hit so hard. So it's 8-5, top of the 6th, 2 out. And 0-1 on Brian Mena.
Now, Mena, the first pitch of the game, grounds out to Volmer. And then he really had a bad swing in the 3rd inning for the 2nd out as he grounded out to Craven. He really got jammed on that. And then he just roped one down the left field side for the triple.
You know what I do with baseball cards now? I buy the entire set. Right? I go to HNG, buy a complete set, and I put it in the closet, and that's it. Or store it somewhere. I don't even open it. And I'm just going to save them. I've done this for about 6 years now. Just going to save them.
Well, I'm one of those guys that buy about 6 or 8 boxes of each of the major card companies and open them up and sort them and make my own sets. Keeps me busy at night.
During the long off season. Yeah. Brian Mena, 0-2 pitch now from Eugene Myers. That ball's hit into right field. It's going to drop in front of Rogers for a base hit. And holding up at second is Brown. So the Broncos have something going here with 2 out in the 6th as Mena gets his 2nd hit.
Well-placed base hit. A good piece of hitting by the leadoff hitter, Mena. Now you see the contact point is outside, hands slightly ahead of the bat. It's pretty hard to Rogers in right field.
And all that does is bring up Steve Keelan, who leads the team in hitting and slugging percentage and on-base percentage. And Keelan, if you look at his numbers for the season, at .472 coming in, is overdue tonight. First pitch from Myers. In there, strike 1. One pitch hits him, and he ducks. I believe it hit him in the back when he got out of the way of that, but it still hits him, and now the bags are loaded.
Well, this is all after 2 outs. Myers starts the inning by striking out the number 7 hitter, Bobadilla. Gets Stevens, the 8th hitter, to fly out. Then there's a walk, a base hit, and a hit batsman. This is definitely not like Eugene Myers. He's only walked 4 guys in the 10 innings that he's pitched, or 10-plus innings.
So Carl Furutani comes out, and Moku Paiva is throwing in the Rainbow bullpen. Remember, a lot of baseball this week, every single day. And coming out to pitch for the Rainbows is going to be the guy who's the DH tonight, Billy Blanchette. And we'll take a break and talk about Blanchette when we get back.
Billy B's a new pitcher for Hawaii. 0-1 on the year. Was the lead pitcher for the first 3 series, and then he got taken out of the rotation. He'll be facing left-hander Chris Hunt, and I believe that's why the move was made. Lefty against lefty here, although Hunt really nailed a Largusa fastball down the right field line in the 4th inning. But this is a little different pitcher here with good changes of speeds and some movement on the fastball.
And Blanchett has not been on the mound in a few weeks. Of course, last year, you'll recall, he was 14-2, and he was actually 14-0 for a while. Had a team-low 2.68 ERA, and just had a wonderful season. He was a National Player of the Week. He was all whack.
Well, he was 14-0 during the regular season. He
right.
lost 2 games in the regionals, and I think he must have just crossed Tyler Sheff up because Sheff goes out to the mound. He looked like he got handcuffed at home plate on that first pitch.
And Blanchett will remain in the game as the DH, in case you're wondering.
Well, I did not see Billy warm up, but sometimes it's difficult to see the near mound over there. We have can just barely see the top of a pitcher standing up there.
1-1 pitch to Hunt. Breaks away 2-1.
My. You don't hear me say that too often, but boy, look at this pitch. You tell me, John, does some part of the ball hit some part of the plate on this? Or what?
You're asking me?
Look at that.
It is considered 2 balls and 1 strike.
Yeah, so I guess it was a ball, huh?
I guess so. There's a line drive into the right center field alley. A bunch of runs are going to score on this, and we're going to have a new ball game. As Hunt puts it all the way to the wall, 3 runs will score a stand-up double. And you got to wonder if Blanchett was not just a little bit upset about that last pitch, as that one was grooved enough for Hunt to drill it into right center and tie it up at 8.
Well, Billy just hangs his ball right down the middle of the plate. And you see that Hunt looked like a changeup, or maybe what they call a batting practice fastball. It was a fastball that Billy just may have taken something off of. Either way, Hunt really nails that one. So suddenly, after 2 were out, nobody was on. Sergio Brown works a full count walk. And you think, well, it's, 2 out. And here's a pop-up that's going to go up out of play and up on the roof. Then Brown comes around to score. Mena comes around to score after he singled. Keelan gets hit by a pitch, and he scores, and they all score on the double by Chris Hunt. And we are tied up at 8. Throw back to second base. It gets into center field, and heading off to third base. That went right through Vollmer's glove will be Chris Hunt. So the crowd of 3,011 not too happy with that one, as Vollmer went to make the tag. He didn't have the ball. Yeah, he went to the tag too soon. The throw was accurate enough. But you notice how Vollmer took his head off just as the ball approached his glove. So an error on Randy Vollmer. Actually, they're calling an error on Billy Blanchett. Oh, boy. Really? Well, I guess it's one of those innings. That ball's popped up in the infield. And coming in is Chris Duggar from first base, and he makes the catch in fair territory. But the Broncos tie it up after 5.5. We are knotted at 8-8.
Leading off for the Rainbows in the bottom of the sixth will be Billy Blanchette. Then, pal, I guess it's a fair question. Billy Blanchette no longer one of the starting three for Hawaii. What is the difference between Blanchette this year and last year when he was 14-0 and stymieing people during the regular season?
Well, I think two things. One is that people know about him, but knowing about him and solving them are two completely different things. I think what has happened to him was that he started to groove his pitches a little too much. I think he got up in the zone a lot more than he did last year. And all the hits that I can remember, especially the last couple of games, were up in the zone. He got hit hard. I thought he deserved to win the first game, however, against Arizona.
Well, he looks at ball 4 and heads down to first base. So Jason Marshall walks the first batter here in the sixth. If you are scoring at home, they have changed that throw down to second base and made an error on Randy Vollmer. Took a look at our replay, which scorers can do. Umpires can't do that.
They could change that decision next week.
That's right.
I wonder what these guys did before replays.
They made the call, and you could contest it forever, but no one could look at it again. We'll find out next year in the NFL because there'll be no more replay. Apparently somebody called the commissioner's office in the NFL and was going crazy until they realized that the rule means they will not be able to use the replay to change calls, but they will still show replays on TV, folks.
What was that statistic that Don Shula mentioned, that there were 90?
Yeah, it was 80 reversals, 90 out of 97 or something.
81 were correct.
Yeah. There were 90 replays, yeah, and 81 of the 90 were reversals. They used the replay. I mean, when you say correct, they were all correct if they changed
all the games that they played. No, I don't know. I thought I remembered that it was 90 reversals and 81 of them were the correct reversal. Not 90 replays that were reviewed.
But if there were 90 reversals, then all of those reversals would have been the correct reversal. That ball drilled down the right field line, but drifting foul out of play. What are we saying here?
Well, what I'm saying is
they look at a replay.
Yeah, when they made the change, the reversal,
right?
Okay.
Right?
Now I get you.
If they made the reversal,
what did we read? Because it was 81 out of 90. Whatever it was something that was in favor of the replay.
Oh, yeah. And it took 21 of 28 owners to go for it, and they've had 22 or 23 in the past. This year it was only like 17 owners went for it, and that kills the reversal in the NFL. 2-2 pitch. That one's hit foul and out of play down the right field line by Sean Rogers.
That's on top of the roof out there.
So the count remains 2-2. For the best in any catered affair, depend on Marion's. Marion's Catering takes all hassle out and helps you plan that special menu, specializing in Japanese, Hawaiian, international cuisines, and other island favorites. That's why so many of Hawaii's people call on Marion's Catering. Up high, ball 3. They call on Marion's Catering for that special occasion. Give Marion's a call. It's 621-6758. So now it's a full count with Blanchette at first base, nobody out. Franz Ewan on deck. Here's the pitch to Rogers. Ground ball between first and second, picked up by the second baseman. Brown to first, not in time as Duhart stretches. But Stevens to Brown for the first out. The throw back to Duhart, and Rogers swift up the line, beats it out.
Good job by Grant Stevens, the second baseman, because that was a ball hit in the hole to his left. You see where he is in relationship to first base, and he has to make that long lead throw, an accurate one.
Well, you're right. He was right there, and it is possible, pal, that as Rogers really smacked two balls very foul, that he might have started moving over toward first base, figuring that Rogers would be pulling the ball, and he guessed right, and now coming out to the mound, or coming out to talk to the umpire. I believe what Belk is going to come out and question is, was there interference at second base?
Yeah, the slide rule. You have to slide over there, and you have to slide directly at the bag.
Remember, the runner must make an attempt, and that is subjective, to get to the base. And what Belk is saying is he didn't go for the base there. And what you've got Mike Evans saying is I thought he did. So Rogers will be on at first base on the fielder's choice. Blanchette is retired. And let's see if we can get a look at it and see what you think. Well, here comes Billy right at the runner. And he goes down there. You see, he may have a point. Was Billy supposed to slide? The answer is yes. Does he have to slide? Mm-hmm. Well, he didn't. That's right. He's a pitcher. He's got a case. Well, you know, he's a pitcher. But a designated hitter, too. Yes, he is. And here's Franz Ewan playing left field tonight. Ewan 1 for 1 with a couple of walks and an RBI. That ball hit into left center field. Can Mena get there? He comes over. He cannot. It bounces in there. Daniels picks it up, screaming over to third base is Rogers, and into second is Franz Ewan, who does it again. That ball had eyes as it got between the center fielder and the left fielder, and now the Rainbows have second and third with one out. Pitch is up in the zone. Franz just hit it in the perfect spot between left and center. Anything one way or the other would have been caught. He just dropped it right in there. So here's Kenny Harrison, and again, a little controversial play could lead to some Rainbow runs. The last time the question was, did the first baseman pull his foot off the bag? And it led to a big inning. 5 unearned runs for the Rainbows came in after that. Inside, ball one from Jason Marshall. Ewan at second, Rogers at third. One out. We're in the bottom of inning number 6, and we are knotted at 8-8. Throw back to third, and getting back easily is Rogers. One ball, one strike to Kenny Harrison. There's a ground ball between first and second. Diving stop by the second baseman. Stevens throws to the pitcher, covering and gets him. Oh, what a play by Grant Stevens. But on the play, Rogers comes in to break the tie. Well, this is an outstanding play by the second baseman, Grant Stevens. Very well executed as well by Jason Marshall. For the presence to get over there. Not the presence, he needed to get over there. This is what they work on once, twice a week. Well, Duhart doing his best to knock it down, couldn't get there, and there was Stevens, and he got it over there in plenty of time. Harrison was out by a step and a half, and that's a good play as they prevent a second run from probably coming in, as that thing was bouncing slow enough that Ewan probably could have come in to score. Well, and a good coaching point right here. I know most coaches, even those in the youth leagues, practice that play where they hit the ball to the first baseman and the pitcher covers first base. Don't forget to throw in the one hit to the second baseman, too. Fly ball to left fielder Daniels. He'll make the catch, and now that play really stands out because the Rainbows only pick up one there in what could have been 2 runs. And so, after 6 full, it's Hawaii 9, Cal Poly Pomona 8. A little over 3,000 people in the park, but sold out Rainbow Stadium, which gives you a good clue, folks. Get down here for this tournament. It's a good one. And you can get down here all day. You can spend the entire day, oh yes, at Rainbow Stadium. And some people will. It's spring break. Bring the kids. You'll be out here quite a bit this week.
Yeah, it's something I have to do.
Set up a little tent down on the first baseline, and
You know, I got all my clothes in my locker and the towels and everything. I'll be here for quite a while.
so if there's a guy you see out there, you go, hey, that must be Powell. Next to the older guy sleeping. 1-1 pitch in the top of the 7th to Alan Duhart. Why, Blanchette can't believe that one missed.
Even that's another one. You see Duhart kind of duck under that. He's got to be called a ball or a strike on the normal batting position. Or batting stance, I mean.
2-1 pitch. Strike 2 as Blanchette just fires away that time. Well, it's been an interesting year for Blanchette. He hit .315 and 90. He hit .315 and 91. He comes in tonight hitting .328. Very consistent, but on the mound, it's been another story thus far. Sawed-off foul up against the facade, again sparing the crowd. Have to get out of the way.
Well, now you see the way he's pitching now is what we were used to seeing last year, where, you know, he'd work the outside corner on somebody, and especially against left-handers using the curveball. And then that time, you saw Tyler Sheff signal fastball inside, and he came and he jammed Duhart, who fouled it off. Now we're looking curveball outside again.
And that time it's hit into left center field. Both outfielders going back. They're not going to get there. It's going to bounce up. And before it hits the wall, Harrison picks it up. But into second base with a stand-up double is first baseman Alan Duhart. So Blanchette, a real bulldog on the mound last year, is being solved this far in 92.
Now, the thing to remember about center fielder Harrison and left fielder Franz Ewan is although Harrison has played a lot of games out there, or more games than Franz Ewan anyway, they're relatively inexperienced, and they really, none of them have the outfield speed that's necessary to play, especially center field. And I don't believe Harrison has ever played center field. Now, Vollmer, when he was relaying the ball on the throw from the outfield, turned and fired the ball at Duggar, and Duggar got hit. Now, if that ball gets by Vollmer, you see the by Duggar, the right fielder, Rogers, has got to be in position to cover, and he was just kind of jogging in a position, so, you know, potential run was saved by Duggar blocking that ball.
Scott Daniels, the left fielder, is the batter. Daniels 1 for 2 with a double. So the potential tying run at second base. We're in top of inning number 7. 9-8. The Rainbows out-hitting Cal Poly thus far, 9 hits to 7. Each team with an error. Attempted bunt is missed. The count is 0-2. And that was not a sacrifice attempt. Daniels was bunting for a hit there.
But the funny thing is, if he got thrown out of first base, it would be counted a sack.
But you saw the way he ran up the line at the last minute. We know his intent, though, right?
That's right.
0-2. Let's see where Blanchette puts this one. You would think he would try to curve something away. That's where Sheff is set up, and that's what he does. And it's outside 1-2. Fouled off, up into the crowd. He caught it. He caught it. He says, I want a contract.
got his agent there. He's all set. Count remains 1-2 on left fielder Scott Daniels.
That was a big guy, too. If I caught the ball sitting around that guy and he wanted it, I'd give it to him. It is amazing, though, when you see people go after foul balls. I mean, the chances that they'll take for a ball. There's a ground ball up the middle. Vollmer, good range, comes over. Long throw and gets him. For Randy Vollmer, showing good quickness to get to that ball. And then with that rifle arm, pal, making the throw. Now, every shortstop likes to go to his left. Okay, very rarely you say, which direction you like to go, and the shortstop will never say, I'd like to go to my right. Obviously, because he's got that extra step and he can make the good throw.
Vollmer with some cryptic writing on his wrists on the tape. Here's Rene Bobadilla. Rene Bobadilla hits one to the left field. Franz Ewan comes in and makes the catch. Here comes the runner coming home. The throw to the plate. The tag is put on and he's nailed. So Duhart trying to score. Even if the tag had missed him, he didn't come close to touching the plate. A double play as Ewan throws it home to Chef. The Rainbows still lead after 6.5, 9-8.
When you look at Franz Ewan now, he's not behind the ball. He catches the ball. Now, Franz has got a very good throwing arm. And he showed it. This is the first time this year he's able to show the gun that he's got in left field. Great throw to Tyler Sheff. Now, for all the people that are playing outfield, what you should do is stay behind the ball so that you're moving into the ball to make the catch. Then your footwork will give you some momentum, thereby getting a stronger throw. Yeah, that throw got there in plenty of time, but you watched how it bounced. It wasn't a line drive type of throw, and the base runner, Duhart, was out, and he was up the baseline. He would have had a hard time getting to the plate if it hadn't been right there. But third base coach sending him, that was the tying run, and so the fans have had a chance to stretch, and we move to the bottom of the seventh inning. Randy Vollmer, the batter for the Rainbows. Speaking of stretch, if you're thinking about stretching out your golf game, try it with a Sheridan Makaha Early Birdie Golf Package starting at $79. You can have a room and a sunrise or twilight tea time. Prices are per person, per night, double occupancy. Call the Sheridan Makaha for details. That ball was not hit all that deep, pal. No, it really wasn't. It didn't sound deep. It wasn't deep, but good throw, Frankie. You did a good job on that.
Three-two pitch, way up high, ball four. Vollmer heads down to first base. Tonight's blockbuster scoreboard, Duke was ahead by 20 in that game. Iowa got it down to 8, but Duke wins 75-62 in the east of the NCAA. Seton Hall looking good, beating Missouri by 17. In the southeast, Alabama losing to North Carolina. And the other game down there in the south, actually, that is Ohio State over Connecticut, 78-55. They just blow out the Huskies in the second half. And coming out to the mound to talk things over with his pitcher is Bob Wagner. No, not the UH coach. This is the Cal Poly assistant coach.
Jeff Wengel is out in the bullpen for Cal Poly.
Robert Williams scheduled to come up. That was the head coach, the interim head coach, Chuck Belk, you saw there. This is a big inning for Marshall as his team only one run behind, cannot afford to let the Rainbows get any more. We'll give you some more basketball scores in just a moment. Down low as Williams squares to bunt. Williams looking to sacrifice instead, takes a strike, 1-1.
Well, you have to bunt strikes when you're sacrificing someone, and being a left-handed batter, Williams is going to try to bunt the ball down the first baseline. Now, he's a switch hitter.
This time he gets the bunt, it's up in the air, and it's dropped by the pitcher, and everybody is going to be safe. And boy, is Jason Marshall upset with himself, Kyle. That had double play written all over it. He literally overran that ball, ended up on his knees, got up and couldn't make the play, and he is a very frustrated player right now.
Well, unless the bunt and run was on, there's no way that should have been a double play. Because the ball's up in the air. Vollmer, when he's taking his steps towards second base, has to read that, and he's got to either go back to the bag or stop to see what happens. Now watch this. I mean, he just misses the ball.
Yeah, if he caught that,
can you say?
If he caught that ball, and you watch how upset he is now, he's going to, no, darn, no. He's very upset. Vollmer was halfway to second on that.
You know, I was going to mention, see, that Williams batting left-handed. It's tougher to get the ball down the first base line when you're left-handed. And being a switch hitter, I've seen people in the past, even against right-handers now, go back to your right-handed side so you can make it down the first base line easier with the bunt attempt.
And the official scoring on that play is a base hit for Rob Williams.
That's because he didn't touch it, see?
Oh, please.
I know.
I don't believe that.
I don't either.
Ground ball goes through the shortstop's leg. He doesn't touch it. That's a base hit?
Yeah.
I know, but think of what we just said. That ball's fouled off right there to Tyler Sheff trying to move the runners along.
But I agree with you on that. I mean, if the ball goes through the shortstop's leg, now that ball right there should have been caught by Jason Marshall. He didn't catch it. He won.
Well, or if anything else, since he squares to bunt a week and a half before it's pitched, at least it's got to be a sacrifice. But they give him a hit, so.
Or sacrifice he won, huh?
Yeah, something. But it's an H. There's a good bunt up the third baseline. Marshall throws to third and makes a good play. So Jason Marshall with a sense of redemption that time. As I said, good bunt prematurely. As Marshall whips and fires to third and gets the force.
Now this bunt is just a little bit too perfect toward the pitcher. Now you see, it's to a point now, and I'm trying to see what I'm going to say here, because it was a good bunt. I mean, when you look at where it was a good bunt. It was just a little bit too high so that the pitcher could get to it in time. If that ball is on the ground, that's a perfect spot for the bunt right there.
Well, and see, from our perspective, I thought it was bunted where it was going to bounce up high enough that the runner would have time to get to third, but Marshall, a thoroughly frustrated Marshall, goes to third and gets the force out. And thus, because he did not sacrifice the runners along, it was not a good bunt. So there's one out in the 1-1 count now to Scott Craven. Ground ball to third. The third baseman picks it up, goes to second to Stevens for one, over to first. Not in time. Craven beats it out. So the Rainbows will have runners on the corners with 2 outs.
as Williams is retired, or rather Sheff is retired at second base. And moving over to third on the play is Williams. Now see, on that play, if the ball was hit to the right of Steve Keelan, what he would have done is stepped on his bag and gone a long way across the diamond for the double play. The ball took him to his left, so he's got to go where the ball takes him. That was the second base.
And here's Billy Blanchette, 0 for 2. And Blanchette comes up as the rare DH/pitcher. First pitch inside and blocked nicely by Hunt. And that saved a run.
Well, recently, Billy has not been making the contact he usually does. He's been on top of a lot of balls. But, he's much too good of a hitter. One of the best things about his hitting is that he's been very consistent from year to year.
Strike 1-1. Interesting, on that last ball that was blocked by Hunt, I watched first base coach Ron Nomura. I think he was a little bit frustrated. Scott Craven had a good opportunity to go to second on that play because the catcher just had the ball lying in front of him, and he was just keeping the runner from scoring. There's a line drive to left field, but moving over is Daniels. He'll make the catch, and after all is said and done, the Rainbows get nothing in the 7th inning. We'll go to the 8th with the score 9-8 Bows. Scott Craven moves over to third base as we start the top of the 8th, and Kelly Fair will take over at second base. So Robert Williams is done for the night. And in the 8th, it's Grant Stevens leading things off. Stevens 0 for 3 on the evening. But he's done some great defensive things at second base. One and one. Pop fly behind second base. Fair goes back, still going back, and makes the catch for out number 1. Let's finish up our blockbuster scoreboard. NCAA basketball. Memphis State beating Arkansas. That was an excellent game, winning by 2. And in probably one of the great games of all time, Georgia Tech winning 79-78. USC goes ahead with 2 seconds left, pal. Georgia Tech throws it in. Guy bombs a three-pointer with 0.8 seconds left to win it for Georgia Tech. Tears and cheers. And over in the West, Florida State upsetting Georgetown. Well, not an upset, but years past you would have thought Georgetown would take that one. So Florida State moves on, and Indiana, Bobby Knight and Dale Brown, not possibly the best of friends, but Shaquille O'Neal sent to the sidelines as Indiana wins by 10 over LSU. And they're in overtime, a tough one. In the NAIA National Semifinals, BYU playing their 3rd game in as many days, goes down to Central Arkansas. So congratulations on a great season to the BYU Hawaii team, who goes down in Kansas City tonight, 72-65 in the National NAIA semifinals. Coming in to hit is Tani Acuna, listed as a first baseman. Acuna is going to pinch hit for Sergio Brown with one out here in the 8th. Blockbuster, home of the best sports videos. Acunas takes ball 1. Ground ball to first base. It stays fair. And Chris Duggar will take it himself for out number 2.
See, one thing about putting Billy B into the game in the 6th inning is that he's got a fairly resilient arm. I mean, he'll be slightly tender tomorrow, but I would imagine by Monday, or at guarantee on Tuesday, he'll be ready to come back.
Well, he is in a position now, as I look at my book, to probably pick up the save, as it looks like Eugene Myers, who pitched the middle innings.
I think it'll be the win.
You think so?
Yeah, because he was a pitcher of record when they went ahead. I don't know. I'm one of these guys that I'm not real...
I think it was Eugene Myers, though. I think it was 8-5. I think, well, we'll wait and see. This game's a long way from over. There are 2 out. Line drive right through Blanchette and into center field. So Brian Mena with yet another hit, his 3rd on the evening. Blanchette almost caught this one.
We'll see where the pitch is, up in the zone again. Now, we were commenting earlier that one of the reasons Billy was getting hit so much early in the season was he was getting the ball up, and trends continued. Now, he knows about this, and we've discussed this, and, sitting in the outfield and talking. But, he hasn't pitched in a while, and when he gets the rhythm back, he'll be all right.
Inside, ball 1. Steve Keelan almost gets plunked again. He was hit by a pitch last time. And Keelan is 0 for 3, and he's the leading hitter on the team. Cal Poly within 1 of Hawaii, but that is very much in keeping with the history of these clubs. They play it tight. It's a strange game tonight. We've had 17 runs scored. 12 of them came in 1 inning, and 4 came in another inning, and a lot of goose eggs up on the board aside from that. The Rainbows with that magic 10 hits. They have not lost this year when they've gotten 10 hits. They've also not lost when they've been ahead in the 7th inning or later. So 2 good omens for the Rainbows right now. 3-0, though, to Keelan with big Chris Hunt on deck. Strike 1.
And you know that Billy, being the kind of player he is, knows that Chris Hunt is up there. Now, Chris Hunt has really been swinging the bat well for the Broncos, and I know that Billy would probably not want to face him, even though he is left-handed. I think he'd prefer, Steve Keelan here.
Mena being kept honest at first base. Three 3-1 pitch to Keelan. Well, good opportunity for Keelan. He knows Blanchette's going to throw him a good pitch. He does, and he saws him off, and it's popped up foul, and Duggar is going to make the 3rd out to end the 8th inning with no damage. And so at the end of 7.5, again, the Rainbows still clinging to the 1-run lead.
This concludes the team for Cal Poly on shortstop number 4, Ron Keister.
Ron Keister checks into the game at shortstop. Sergio Brown was pinch hit for, so Keister will now come in. And Sean Rogers will lead off things for the Rainbows in the bottom of the 8th. A couple more scores for you sports fans of all sorts. The USC men's volleyball team beats our UH men 15-10, 15-2, 10-15, and 15-5. That's the start of a 4-game road trip for the Rainbows. Rainbows' big problem is they're 9th in the country, and they play everybody above them, except for maybe one East Coast team, which would not be above them if they played the same schedule, in my mind.
Well, watching that Long Beach State volleyball team, that was one heck of a team.
That's very scary how good that squad is. Defending national champs. Here's another score for you baseball fans in WAC baseball today. They're playing a triple header. San Diego State, a couple of teams you want to remember for later on this year. Great foes of the Bows. Brigham Young beats San Diego State 10-5 in the first game. San Diego State comes back 11-2 in the second game, and they're in the middle of a third game. And the score right now in the third game is 0-0 in the bottom of the fourth. And you go, hey, John, why are they playing a triple header? And the reason is it got rained out yesterday. And BYU does not play Sunday games.
They will not play on Sunday. In fact, last week they were up in Seattle at the Kingdome, and they just forfeited their Sunday game. BYU will not play on Sunday.
Swinging strike 3. Sean Rogers goes down.
Now, Rogers took the first pitch thrown to him, was right down the middle. And then he forces himself into a situation that he's got to go after, something the pitcher wants him to go after. So I really believe in being aggressive at the plate. I think if you're going to get up there, he's going to give you a pitch down the middle, swing at it. Like that.
So Jason Marshall has given up 1 run and 4 hits in his 4 innings of work. Franz Ewan comes up, has not been retired yet tonight. He's 2 for 2 with a couple of walks. So to finish the San Diego State story, that San Diego State-BYU series will only be 3 games, because BYU will undoubtedly leave tomorrow and head back home. I don't think they'll stay on Monday to play a 4th game. So they get in 3 7-inning games today, and those teams will have 1 game less in the standings. But of course in the WAC, that happens all the time between the weather. Although it's usually snow up in the Rocky Mountains that forces teams not to play.
Well, if you recall, last year, San Diego State at BYU was snowed out, and they never even played them.
They stayed, I think, 1 extra day and couldn't get any of those games in. 2-2 pitch to Ewan is way outside ball 3.
You know what they did on that series? They actually called the southern part of Utah to see whether the weather was better down there so that they could travel down south to either St. George or maybe even Cedar City to try to get the games in, but it was bad everywhere.
That ball by Ewan lined in the left center field. That's going to be another extra base hit for Franz Ewan, who's become Mr. Automatic. He rounds second base. The ball dies at the wall. Ewan's going to chug into third base with a stand-up triple. He is on fire.
Well, this is a thing that Franz has been noted for. All of his life has been able to hit. And to hit at this level, to be honest, I mean, there have been some of us who have never doubted that he could hit at this level. And I hate to say, but I'm telling you, I've been one all along that says he could hit at this level.
You coached him?
Oh, yeah.
So Ewan tripled. He's also doubled, walked, walked, and singled. So he has so many bases tonight. He comes in with a slugging percentage of .717. I can't even imagine how high it is now. He's now 24 for 49 on the season. Ground ball to first, knocked down nicely by Duhart, and he steps on the bag. And with that, Kenny Harrison's retired, and Ewan has to hold at third base. So UH not able to get the insurance run just yet. That brings up Chris Duggar. Ewan, if he goes 1 for 2 tomorrow, or if he gets up again tonight, would be hitting .500. Normally at this point in the season, if a guy's hitting .500, he's like 1 for 2 on the year. Ewan would be 25 for 50. Right now he's 24. I'm sorry, right now he is 24 for 49. So if he goes 1 for 1 tomorrow, he'd be 25 for 50. And that one, Chris Duggar gets hit.
That's a good call by Baldwin right there. And I'll say, I'd like to see this kind of thing. I like to see people try to help their team out by doing that. Chris Duggar's been doing this all year.
Well, it's a breaking pitch.
Yeah, when you get a breaking pitch, then they hang in there. But you see what he does, you see how he leans into it, and that's a little bit too obvious, but pretty good idea.
So the count now 2-0 as Duggar is called back by Mike Baldwin. That's in there for strike one.
So we first saw this made popular in the college level at the college level by Dave Snow when he was at Loyola Marymount. Of course, Dave Snow is now at Long Beach State.
Strike two to Duggar. Well, Duggar leads the team in getting hit. He's been hit 5 times this year. The number 6, Mike Baldwin says, now 2 quick strikes, and it's 2-2 to Duggar. With 2 out and Ewan on third. Change up. Ooh, Marshall thought he had him. He's halfway to the dugout. 3-2.
Well, you've got to take a look at the shortstop, Ron Keister. You see where he is playing. I mean, he's playing right in the 6 hole. Get a look at the shot right there. I mean, that entire middle is open for Chris Duggar.
3-2, and Duggar hits one down the left field line. Another breaking pitch. And that's sawed off and out of play. So it remains 3-2. Well, I guess he doesn't expect Duggar to swing too late. We're right.
Well, but with the speed that he's throwing now, I mean, you could probably, as a batter, wait back and try to steer one up the middle.
Well, and a slow bouncer. He's got a long throw from there.
Yeah.
3-2. We'll see if it makes a difference on this pitch. Ball 4. It gets by the catcher. Bounces off the backstop, and coming in is Franz Ewan, and the Rainbows lead 10-8. So adding insult to injury, not only does Marshall lose Duggar, but he gives up a very important insurance run here in the bottom of the 8th.
And by the way, the 9th run and now the 10th run has eliminated everyone from contention for the Midas Touch inning. So thank you very much for playing. And we're sorry you didn't win.
So Randy Vollmer, the batter. By the way, that shot we just had in the Rainbow dugout, you saw Dwayne Daughtry with the cast off, it looked like, from his arm. He should not see any action this week, though, but he'll be ready for WAC play first week in April when Hawaii will take on Wyoming.
And a good idea right then by Randy Vollmer, Keelan, and Keister. I mean, we got a shot of how deep they were playing.
Throw back to first, and Duggar is back.
Nice throwing there by Chris Hunt. I like the way this guy plays. I mean, he's tough back to the plate. Got a good arm, swings the bat. A little bit of, I'm sorry, go ahead.
2-1, that's all.
A little bit of decoying now going on between Keelan and Vollmer. Now he's playing way back. He was playing even with the bag, and just before the pitch was coming on the way, Keelan would back up into very deep third base.
You know, you watch Hunt as he threw that ball down to first. This is a rare game in the fact that we've seen a couple of hit and run and hit. We haven't seen a stolen base yet tonight, or an attempt, which is pretty rare. But I'm used to strange things happening when I get up here. 3-1 pitch. Ball 4. You would think in a game that has 18 runs, somebody would have tried to steal.
Call for a righty, then he calls for a lefty. The lefty's out in the pen, the lefty will come in.
That's a good call, so as not to confuse the pitcher warming up. He's a lefty, and he calls for the lefty because there is no righty. And we'll be back with the lefty right after this. For those of you waiting to see Cops, stay tuned. It will be shown immediately following tonight's baseball game. New pitcher in the game is Jeff Wengel, the lefty out of Modesto.
Wendell now's been warming up there for a couple of innings. Throws straight from the top. Watching him in the bullpen, didn't look like he had too much movement on the ball.
Well, he comes in at another key time. Kelly Fair coming up for the first time tonight, but the Rainbows have 2 runners on. The game's still within reach for Cal Poly, but if the Rainbows squeak another run or 2 across here, it's going to be very tough for Cal Poly. Thus far, they had a big double off of Blanchette to drive in 3 runs in the 6th inning. And I believe you're right, that tied the game at 8-8, which would make Blanchette, as it turns out, our winning pitcher if he holds on. All those runs coming against the credit of Eugene Myers. And Kelly Fair hitting .318, the true freshman. You so often hear the term redshirt freshman. Kelly Fair, a true freshman. 1-1 pitch from Wengel. Up high, ball 2. Ground ball to third. It bounces up and hits the third baseman in the face. Keelan is holding his face. A run will score. And coming around to third base is Vollmer. And Keelan is down as that ball hit the dirt, bounced up, and to add insult to injury, bounced into the outfield, which allowed the runner to score from second in the person of Chris Duggar. And now they're coming out to check on Keelan. That ball bounced up and hit Keelan right in the cheek, it looked like. And we're out there attending to him now, pal.
We have seen this happen many times because the ball coming from the AstroTurf to the dirt, it bounces a little bit differently. And also, if it hits the seam, and I'm not real sure whether it hit the seam, but you can see that there was something cut.
You see some blood on his left arm there, and Keelan's going to come out of the game. I think it might have hit him up on the high cheekbone. We'll take a break and be back right after this. 11-8 Rainbows. Utility infielder Ed Rooney is forced into the game as Kelly Fair hits the dirt hard and it bounces up and hits Keelan in the face, and he's removed from the game. That one hit him up around the jaw, maybe up higher by the cheek, by the eye, and he looked very frustrated and obviously in a little bit of pain as he came out. And the batter for Hawaii now, Tyler Sheff, takes strike one. So it is 11-8 as Kelly Fair drills one. And when you consider we've had 18 runs up to that point, that third base area is probably pretty choppy, and that ball pal took one of those hops in the dirt that bounced right up, and it not only hit Keelan, to add insult to injury, as I said, it couldn't fall in front of him. It went into the outfield, which allowed Duggar to score from second base with the 11th run of the night.
I'll tell you how hard that ball hit him. It caromed off into center field, into short center field.
So Kelly Fair gets to second base on that one, and Vollmer moved over to third. Duggar, of course, scoring the second run of the inning, the 11th run of the night for the Rainbows. And Sheff now with a 1-2 pitch inside, 2-2. We're in the 8th. It's 11-8 Rainbows. Fouled off at home plate, still 2-2. Two pitch, Sheff swinging, strike three. Hunt takes it, throws it to first, throws it high, but there is Duhart to grab it and step on the base to end the 8th inning. The Rainbows do get 2 insurance runs. They'll lead 11-8. We'll head to the 9th. KHNL's coverage of men's volleyball continues on March 31st as we begin a 2-match series against Brigham Young. Join us from the confines of Clun Gym, I didn't say friendly, and catch the explosive action of men's volleyball on Hawaii's very own KHNL Channel 13. The Rainbows currently 8th in the country, BYU 11th. The Rainbows losing tonight 3-1 at USC on that road trip they're on. Let's take a look as the East Tournament begins tomorrow. Here are the divisions that you'll see. The Green Division, which is all Division I teams. Brown and Dartmouth from the Ivy League. Grand Canyon, which plays in Grand Canyon. And, of course, Hawaii. And then the White Division, which is made up of the NAIA teams, Hilo and Lewis Clark State, Meiji University from Japan, and Cal Poly Pomona, the Division II team, who's batting right here in the 9th inning. So what will happen is they will play each other in their own divisions twice during the week. And then the first place team from each division will meet on Saturday for the championship. The second place teams will meet for the third place in the overall, etc., etc. Now, if one were picking favorites, you would think that we would be talking to you a week from now, or Jim and Pal would be talking to you with Hawaii playing Lewis Clark State, but don't count these Broncos out.
And don't count Meiji out either.
That's right. And Hilo, boy, you want to talk about a team getting a great start. Hilo is the #1 team in America. You go, John, how can they be #1 in America? Well, I'll tell you. Not only are they a lofty 11-1 heading into today, but they beat Grand Canyon yesterday. They killed them. 12-2, I think it was, in the 10-run rule. Kevin Kapu pitched a complete Game 5 hitter. It was a 10-run rule. And since Grand Canyon beat #1 Wichita State last week, and now Hilo beat Grand Canyon, that means Hilo would be #1 in the country, pal.
Could be.
Anyway, great start by the Vulcans. So all 4 teams make that a very tough division, that white division. Chris Hunt, the batter, 3-1 pitch up high, ball 4. A player from each team will be honored at the end of tonight's game. GTE Hawaii Intel will go beyond the call and contribute to the General Scholarship Fund of the University of Hawaii. The batter now, Yanni Aguili. And coming out to the mound is Carl Furutani to talk to Billy Blanchette. And it looks like Tucker is going to be called in, the ace reliever on the Rainbows, and we'll take a break here in the top of the 9th. With 1 on and nobody out, it's 11-8 Hawaii. Take it.
The new pitcher for Hawaii, Craig Tucker, sophomore from Klamath Falls, Oregon, the designated closer for the Bows. Last year, Tucker went through a cold stretch where his velocity tailed off to about 81 miles an hour, 80, 81. And he was grooving pitches, and he was getting hit pretty hard. He's come back bigger, stronger, throwing the ball harder on a regular basis. And again, he's got that great curveball, which is a big equalizer for him.
0-1 to Yanni Aguili. 0 for 3. He's their designated hitter. Toss back over to first. Well, a good sign for the Rainbows. They have not lost a game. They've been ahead and going into the 7th inning. And that says something about the quality of pitching they've been getting, both from their starters and from guys like Tucker. 1-1. Two and 1. Outside, 3-1. By the way, I mentioned UH Hilo earlier today. Dartmouth beat UH Hilo 9-2. Other games today, Meiji beat Brown 8-2.
And Grand Canyon slipped by Lewis Clark State 6-5. Game called in the 8th inning due to the 2.5-hour time limit. So this tournament could really be up for grabs. So get on out here and keep it on KHNL all week long. Craig Tucker walks Yanni Aguili, and that brings the tying run to the plate in the person of Alan Duhart. And all he's done tonight is doubled twice and driven in a run.
Well, Tucker just has to compose himself now. Concentrate on throwing the ball in the strike zone. Got the first pitch over, and then he threw 4 consecutive balls.
Nobody is out. Duhart, the batter. On deck is the left fielder Daniels, who's gotten a hit tonight, a double. And Tucker's going to have to work himself out of this one and pick up the save for the Rainbows. He throws outside, ball 1. Crowd thinking a lot of these pitches are strikes and letting home plate umpire Mike Baldwin know about it. That's in there, strike 1.
I don't know what this is all about. Maybe it's just horseplay, or is Chad Uehauer really warming up from the mound? I doubt it.
Well, we don't know who he's throwing with either. That could have been how Blanchette warmed up. He was down at the other end. As you said, 1-1 pitch now to Duhart. Up high, ball 2. So Tucker comes in after Blanchette walked Chris Hunt. And he walks Yanni Aguili. And now he's down 2-1 in the count to Alan Duhart. 2-1 pitch. Outside, ball 3. Crowd thought that was a strike.
Well, that pitch looked to be about 6 or 8 inches outside. Thought it was a pretty good call by Mike Baldwin.
Yeah, I don't mean to intimate that Baldwin's making bad calls, but the crowd wants to get out of here, and these pitches are, as you say, pretty close.
Yeah.
But they're balls. 3-1. That's in there, strike 2.
You see, sometimes when your pitcher is struggling for the strike zone, as a catcher, what you should do is give him a central target, but a low one. Instead of trying to hit spots, go right after him down the middle of the plate, but low. So if you miss, you have some leeway either side of the glove, and at least it's down there, and you can possibly get a ground ball double play out of this.
Big pitch here, full count, 3-2. It's fouled off into the screen. Yeah, the last thing the Rainbows want to do here is walk another batter in the 9th inning when they're up 11-8. Make them hit the ball. 3 things can happen. It's a hit, it's a ground ball, or it's a fly ball. 2 of the 3 work in favor of the Rainbows here because a ground ball could be a double play. 3-2 pitch now to Duhart. The runners take their leads. That ball's hit up the middle. It's hanging up in the air, and moving back and making the catch on it is Harrison. Tagging up at second, moving over to third is Chris Hunt.
Well, it's a funny thing about momentum. Billy walks the leadoff batter Hunt of the inning. Then Tucker comes in, walks the next guy. Then he loads up the count on the batter that just flew out. So that could have been a momentum killer right there. I think the real key is how he comes after Daniels right here.
Daniels has walked, doubled, and grounded out twice. He checks down to the third base coach to see where and what he wants him to do on this first pitch. That ball was hit hard, but hit right at Kenny Harrison. And again, baseball, as you always say, a game of inches. If it goes left to right a little bit and goes in the gap, suddenly it's a different story. But in the meantime, it's first and third, 1 out. That pitch way outside, ball 1.
Well, sometimes you saw at that delivery right there, Tucker falls off toward first base, but his arm goes
toward the outside part of the plate, so he's not even close on that one pitch.
1-0. In there, strike one.
Now, Daniel's running speed to first base, I got a 4.52, which is about 0.3 of a second below average on the, of course, the major league average. Now, whether he was hustling all the way through that, I don't know. But this would seem to be a pretty good guy to double up.
1-1 pitch. Sliced down the left field line. Ewan coming in. He won't get there. That's going to drop in for a base hit. So to his credit, I think when Franz Ewan saw he wasn't going to get there, pal, as opposed to overplaying a ball he couldn't get and possibly having it go by him, he stops. And that keeps Aguili from getting any further than second base. But a sawed-off base hit makes it 11-9, and the tying runs are on base.
I think that's a very good point that you just brought up. I mean, no sense in trying to be a hero right there, having the ball get by and possibly or guarantee the run at second base. Aguili would score, and maybe all runs would score. Runners, I mean.
Craig Benham comes in to pinch run now. For Daniels. And there's a strike to the batter, Rene Bobadilla. Actually, Alex Villapando comes in. You said he might be all-name, too. So Villapando comes in for Bobadilla here in the 9th inning. 0-1, 1 out, 2 runners on. The pitch to Villapando. Fouled off.
Well, he's not listed on any roster that I have.
He's 0 for 2 on the season. I guess you would call this a pressure moment for him. 0-2 on the season, coming up against the number 11 team in America with the tying runs on base. So we'll see what Villapando does. 1-2 now. Benham, the pinch runner at first. Aguili at second. Tucker's pitch up high. 2-2. Well, that'll make Villapando take a step back.
Tell you what he doesn't want is put the lead run or the tying run in scoring position right here. Come right after him. Fastball right down the middle.
He does. It's chopped up the middle. And picking it up, stepping on second, and now throwing to third. And if he tags him, it'll be the ball game. He does tag him, and that'll do it. Crazy play there. Crazy play there. As the base runner, Aguili had to wait to see what Kelly Fair was going to do. And Kelly Fair let the ball bounce. He steps on second for the force. He throws to Craven at third, pal, and Craven therefore has to apply the tag. And what a strange way to end a strange game. 11-9, the final. Hawaii wins. So Tucker, not happy with his overall performance as he was a bit wild, but Hawaii takes it 11-9. And we take a look at our Hawaiian Tel MVPs for the night. Tonight's MVPs are GTE Hawaiian Tel MVPs Brian Mena for Cal Poly, who had 3 hits on the night, and Franz Ewan, who had bunches of hits and a bunch of RBIs for the Rainbows. And GTE Hawaiian Tel pleased to make a contribution to the General Scholarship Fund of the University of Hawaii. GTE Hawaiian Tel Beyond the Call. And that ending was so strange, I don't think the crowd realized what was happening right away as they head for the exits, and the Rainbows pick up yet another win to keep the winning streak going. Coming up next on Channel 13, it's back-to-back episodes of Cops. And KHNL's coverage of University of Hawaii baseball continues tomorrow evening at 6:30, live from Rainbow Stadium with the 17th annual Easter Tournament. Join us as we kick off 7 straight days of the tournament, beginning with the game between the Bows and the Antelopes of Grand Canyon. Jim Leahy will be back tomorrow night. Until then, this is John Fink for Pal Eldridge telling you our final score tonight. A tight one for Les Murakami and the Bows. They win 11-9. This has been another live sports presentation of Hawaii's very own KHNL, Channel 13.